is after him. That could be picked off by Colt Cruz at the 28. He's loose. He's going to go all the way. Touchdown, Tigers.
Get it on the jet sweep to the short side. Up the sideline. Sam McCaffrey. He is gone. Touchdown, Ottawa.
Wilder's going to catch it right at the 50. Looking for some room coming down here to the bottom to the left. He's got a lot of room. Watch out. He's gone. He's gone, Coach. Wilder's going to take that 50 yards for a score. Bulldogs on the board.
Welcome back to the Black Swan Football Podcast presented by the Gerken Companies. Ready for the playoffs, guys? Along with Tory, Strock, and Neil Schuller here to my left, I am Lynn Groll. Postseason time.
Here we are.
Best time of the year.
It is the best time of the year. I'm going to confess, man, I'm pooped. I'm a tired boy. We had that game Friday night, and then Saturday morning, Rise and Rewind. Bowling Green rolling Toledo in the Glass Bowl. Had the Lions yesterday. That was fun. And then back here tonight. So I'm going to grind it out for you guys and for our listeners, but I'm tired, boy.
Whew. Hey, suck it up, baby. It's that time of year where you got to grind through it, you know. I mean, we're
feel like I'm
week 11. We got 6-week run here.
Feel like I'm a player
Barely
again.
half over.
Yeah. Got another
true, the way it goes.
More than another half season left here. So I feel like I just went through one of Rex Lingren's practices, man.
Buckle it up, Strock.
I'm trying.
Loosen it up.
Yep.
I know.
Let's get it going.
I was doing some stretches here before Schuller got here. Did you see me?
Some
getting limbered up.
Yep. That's good.
I need to start making you do some laps or something around here. Cross country of some kind.
I need
run
to.
over to the nature center down
need
the road.
to.
It'll be about a 2-mile run for you.
I'll give him about here to the Red Barn.
You think he can get that far?
Well, yeah, I think
That's pushing it.
Yeah,
That's pushing it.
might kind of end early on the way back.
Let's put it this way. A couple years ago, I was getting recertified lifeguard training. Believe it or not, I was a certified lifeguard for a long time. During simple lifeguard training, I jump in the pool, just jump off the side of the pool to jump in for a rescue, pulled my left hamstring. I did. Pulled my hammy just jumping in.
Yeah, so now all of a sudden you need rescue.
Now, yeah. So
did they pass you?
Yeah, I passed. I was still better on one leg than most of them were.
Well,
you know,
makes sense, really.
So, yeah. Yeah.
That's a new one.
We need you here.
It's true.
Need you here. Get
I know.
rested up by Friday.
I know. I will.
Black Swan Football Gamecast presented by 3-Chord. We're headed to Fred J. Brown Stadium as Bowling Green comes to defiance. One of many area playoff matchups we have coming up this week. Before we get into the playoffs and everything that goes into that, any takeaways from the 10-week regular season, guys, that surprised you, impressed you, jumped out at you? Anything?
It's a battle of attrition, and Anthony Wayne to go unblemished against that schedule blows me away. The extremely high levels that Liberty Center and Columbus Grove played at throughout the season blows me away, because we know it's so hard to be at fever pitch every week. And then Liberty had a close one with PH, Grove had a close one with LCC. They found a way. Their perseverance. Tenora is another one that I think's quite a story. Starting 0-3 and to find a way down the stretch, I think's really, really impressive. So, just a couple things.
Ottawa Hills, winning their last 8.
Talk about, is there a hotter team?
I tell you what, there's nobody who wants to be facing them right now. There's no question about it. And I would throw St. Francis in there. A program that, was for all intent and purposes, I had about rock bottom, and to come off with a 7-3 season under
probably
Josh
below
like
rock bottom.
You know, testament to what the proper culture and belief in a system can do for a program. So could not be more tickled for them. As you guys mentioned, anytime you run the table and go 10-0, just not an easy thing to do. I don't care who's on your schedule, and the teams that we just talked about, absolutely hats off to them. Not an easy thing to do. You know, teams like Delta, who we haven't talked about for a while, all of a sudden back in the conversation. What about Maumee? You know, goes from, you know, kind of a a similar spot to St. Francis to now all of a sudden being the 5th seed in the playoff, 8-2 season, with your only 2 blemishes to Eastwood and Oak Harbor that nobody would argue with there. So a lot of area teams that, you know, kind of back in the mix, back in the conversation. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, and I think on the opposite end of that spectrum, there's teams, you know, geeked up to go to the postseason. There's teams turning in their equipment and going, hey, we've got to have a plan going forward. You know, St. John's Jesuit, an uncharacteristic struggle this year. You know, where does Northview go? Looking ahead, Springfield, you showed some signs, you know, but what do they do going forward? It's
Bryan, Swanton.
Oh, there you go.
Bottom half of the NWL, some of those programs.
Yeah, I mean, what do you do? You know, so
yeah. Well, you got a year at this point to kind of figure it out, but figure it out you must, because it's not going to get that landscape for those teams we just talked about doesn't change with this coming year. So best of luck as those programs work to find a new way.
Let's put a bow on week 10 in the regular season with our Gerken Company's rock solid performance. Going to hear from the Gerken Companies, come back, get some nominations, and hand out our regular season finale award for the Gerken Company's rock solid performance.
Who says a college degree is the only path to a fulfilling career? At the Gerken Companies, we offer rewarding livelihoods with or without a degree. Gerken provides a generous benefits package, continuous training, top-notch equipment, and a culture that rewards effort. We're looking for rock-solid performers to help build and reinforce the region's infrastructure. Whether you have construction experience or are just starting your career, apply now at gerkencompanies.com/careers.
Welcome back to the Black Swamp Football Podcast presented by the Gerken Companies. All right, Week 10 rock solid performance. Boy, we can hand out quite a few of them from a week ago.
Well, I'll start here. And I've got a list. I think I got 5 down here, and some of them are repeats. You know.
Well, you get to this point in the season, it's hard not to.
Right. So the Ottawa Hills Green Bears, just rock solid in a matchup that was talked about all year. If you wondered if they were going to let down or not be ready to go, you'd have been wrong. They got it done. So Ottawa Hills, Columbus Grove, the absolute dismantling of 9-0 Bluffton, who dismantled everyone else all season long. What Columbus Grove did on the road was unbelievable. Can't quantify it in words. Anthony Wayne completes a 10-0 season, gets it done at home against Perrysburg. P-Burg was fighting for their conference title hopes, and AW squashed that. Fremont Ross, they've had their ups and downs for sure. They put it all together. According to what we've heard, maybe BG was shorthanded a little bit with some injuries there. But Fremont Ross, got to give them credit where credit is due. They had, their woes throughout the season, but they finished strong. And then my 5th one, I want to mention the Evergreen Vikings, who got it done against Delta in overtime. And I know that was a pretty even matchup coming in. Some people even like Coach Linger and even liked Evergreen going into that game. But if you understand recent history here in this area, Evergreen's a program that hasn't had a lot of continuity. They've had a lot of turnover and things like that. And for them to put together the season they did and then cap it off against Delta, Fulton County rival, Evergreen, that's pretty rock solid what Barry Bach has done there this year. So that's my list. I'm sure I forgot somebody, but that's what I have.
Well, and you may have forgot somebody, but the 4 that I had were the first 4 that you listed.
Really?
Columbus Grove, Anthony Wayne, Fremont Ross, and Ottawa Hills.
You even had Ross, huh?
Yeah, those were the 4, and I think all worthy for the exact same reasons that you mentioned. The interesting thing about Ross, you mentioned that maybe Bowling Green was down some personnel, but looking at some of that game film and talking to some people, it sounded like Fremont Ross's trenches absolutely bullied Bowling Green on both sides.
They earned it.
So personnel, sure, that matters, but hats off to the folks, especially those big eaters up front, getting it done for the Little Giants. And you know what, for Coach Chad Long, to keep the wheels on the bus and finish the season off strong.
Agree, Neil.
I like the Green Bears for this week's rock solid performance.
Man, it's hard to argue that for sure.
Yeah.
A few of those others have won it.
Yeah.
We can repeat, but we're not going to.
Yep.
No, I don't know how anyone in their right mind could argue that.
No.
They just seem to be climbing each week. Ottawa Hills did, and
it wasn't like it was 12-10.
No.
It was
no doubt about it.
Massacre.
Well, and as we said here, and I'm not gloating when I say this, but I know I picked Ottawa Hills. I think you guys picked Eden. So I think a lot of people, if you polled, there was a lot of people kind of in that same boat, right?
Yeah.
2 out of 3 people probably gave it to Eden. So, man.
Yeah, and
Rocco did go for over 100 yards.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. And normally I would never pick a team that lost that bad a year ago at home. I never would I do that. So I learned a lesson,
Well, but you outlined it on Rise and Rewind. You got to play on both sides of the ball, especially when you're talking about a game of that stature. When you're talking about what we're about to talk about in Week 11 and beyond, you better be complete on both sides of the ball, or your path forward is going to be abruptly ending.
Agree.
Game 1, Players of the Week.
Yes.
Schuller?
Yep. Offensively, it's going to go to Grant Kinney at Anthony Wayne. Just deserving on all measures. I don't have his stats right in front of me from last week, but getting it done on both sides of the ball. I believe he had 3 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. Commanded the offense as he always does. Defensively, honorable mention to Joe Senni at Perrysburg. We've talked about him, a guy whose number was called all night long. I don't believe he left the field the entire evening, but we're going to have co-defensive players of the week. First of all, a repeat. Grant Kinney, by the way, is repeating as offensive player of the week, presented by Game 1. Defensively, Cassius Kruger. Dude is an absolute menace at linebacker. He's everywhere. He closes quickly, and he comes angry. Just a prototypical linebacker that you would want to have. The second guy is Ben Nikars. Secondary, his number was called an equal amount of times. So you had, Cass Kruger, who was really shutting down that run game. You had Nikars that was shutting down the passing game, and the both of them together, numbers called all night long. And Ben Nikars with a big touchdown right before the half as well. So congratulations to our offensive and defensive Game 1 Players of the Week for last week's.
Was that the Hail Mary kind of throw? Or last play of the half?
It was the last play of the half. You could consider it, but he
Not
ran
really a Hail Mary.
Yeah, he ran around. Yeah, there was no time left on the clock.
Had to get it to the end zone.
Yeah, he connected in stride. And I tell you what, there's a video out on my X feed because I happen to be standing right there. I mean, he placed the ball. Ben had about 2 steps, or he would have been out the back of the end zone, and he put it right where it was.
I don't even know if he had 2 steps.
It wasn't much.
Might have had 2 inches.
It wasn't much, but he hauled it in. And I tell you what, that was a big, at the time, I believe the game was tied. And you think, okay, we're going to get out of here. We're going to go in the half. In watching that play.
10-7 at that time.
10-7. So, okay, manageable. You're, a field goal game. Now all of a sudden you're 17-7 headed into half, right as you're going in, and maybe looking a little bit differently. Watching that game and breaking that down, that play, Kenny, they were back. Kenny was kind of starting to scramble around, and obviously the running threat that he is, I think, you start to key in on him a little bit, and, lo and behold, old Ben Nikar's just, threads a chute and gets open. Grant sees him and puts it on him.
That was 36 of his 151 yards passing. He was 7 of 10 overall passing was Grant Kenny, 3 touchdowns, and then rushing, he had 121 yards and a touchdown on 21 attempts.
Yeah, I mean, the guy, I tell you what, I've watched them all in the NLL CHSL this year, probably the best dual threat quarterback that's in the league. I mean, he can sting you either way, and often does.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Congratulations to our Game 1 winners from week number 10. You'll be getting them their
their apparel. Yep, absolutely. Be heading out that way this week.
Outstanding. Standings. Ugh. I got to give this report.
You got to do it.
Please.
Tory got me by another game last week. He was 29-6, as was Neil. Braden 29-7, and I was last, 28-6 a week ago in our pick'ems. So overall, Tory ends the regular season with a 2-game triumph. 287-52. I was 285-54. Braden 3.5 games back, 289-61, and Neil Schuller 280-60, 7.5 games back.
I feel like, like Coach Langren said, I just ran out of time.
That's how he looks at it.
Yeah, and I just ran out of time.
It's pretty close, though. I don't know that there was ever much doubt who was going to end up winning, but I will say that was you guys were worthy opponents. That was close, man. You picked the Cougars, man.
Yeah, the Cougars stung me twice, and that's what caused me to lose.
Yeah, both times you handled that helmet, by the way.
Yeah.
I just want to point that out.
That helmet's going back to Southfield. So, Coach Hardy, when you want to come get that helmet, you know where this place is.
So what is it total? How many games did we pick throughout the year total?
287-52.
So
339.
Yeah, 340 games roughly.
And then you did, you did one more because we did extra broadcast for first weeks.
Oh, yeah.
So you did 240.
Yeah, that's
I think we were all over 80% when our picking percentage, which isn't too shabby, but
for 300 games picked, that's pretty good. Wow.
And I've still, over the course of these years, never picked a Liberty Center game wrong. Is that correct?
That's correct.
According to Braden's numbers?
Got a data table with all that, and you've never missed a Liberty game. Although they haven't lost many games.
They haven't lost many.
So if you've picked them, you're in pretty good shape.
Yep, most of the time. Yep.
And they haven't lost a regular season game since 2021 before your time here at BSF.
Yeah, I was still coaching.
Yeah. So as long as you keep picking them, they're going to keep winning for you.
Yeah.
Which is pretty amazing, but I'll have to send that link to Schuller too. He can look and
pretty
see
cool.
who we picked against in our percentage, picking them against them, all that good stuff. Yeah, that's real good stuff. Let's move on to the playoffs, guys. 16 teams in the region again this season. The last 3 years of the 16-team playoff. Got some data here for you that Braden Martin did for me today. 1 seeds are 83-1 in the first 3 years of the 16-team regional field. There are 28 regions overall in the state, 7 divisions. 2 seeds are 79-5. 2 seeds are 79-5. 3 seeds are 75-9. 4 seeds are 69-15. 5 seeds 70-14. 6 seeds 72-12. 7 seeds are 58-26. 8 seeds actually have a losing record, 40-44. So the 9 seeds have beat them 44 out of the 84 games so far here in the first 3 years, and then you go down the list even further. 10 seeds 26-58. 11 seeds 12-72. 12 seeds are 14-70. 13 seeds have 16 wins, 69 losses. 14 seeds 9 wins, 75 losses. 15 seeds 5 wins, 79 losses, and then that 116 seed that picked up a victory. So they're 1-83 in the first 3 years. Now here's another little data point for you guys. Teams that win on the road in the first round are then 17-109 in round 2. So if you pull an upset round 1,
tough hoeing.
It's tough. Only 17 of those have won, and only three have made a regional final. if you start out on the road. Springfield, the 12 seed a year ago, got to the state championship game. Anderson, a 10 seed in 2022, got to the regional final, and Padua Franciscan, a 10 seed in 2022, also got to the regional final.
So Edison was the 16, the only 16
Yes.
seed.
Yes.
Edison. I can tell you this, and we'll get into it, but the stats for the 4 seeds versus the 13 seeds, you're going to add a loss on the 4 seed column and a win on the 13 seed column this week. I'll tell you who that's going to be.
Just from our area?
Just from our area,
I know where you're
and
going with
I'll
this.
tell you who that's going to be.
I think I agree with you on that one, but there's there's how those seeds shaped out. If you need them as we get into we're going to pick the regions out for the local areas, and then also our state champions after we go through our playoff games this week as well.
Well, and I don't think that 8 seed statistic surprises me at all, and especially 8 plays 9. That tends to be your most quote unquote knotted up matchup in these things. And looking through our slate that we're about to cover here, there's some of those that you go, man, this is a hard one to maybe pick.
Yeah, so much of it just comes down to your league and strength of schedule. I mean, you can see it from a mile away. There's times you'll see a 4 and a 13, and you're like, 13's going to beat them. There's just no doubt if you know football.
Right.
And
yeah, no doubt. First 2 rounds, the higher seed will host this season. Then we'll go to a neutral site for the regional semis, regional finals, state semis, and then obviously to Canton for the state championship game. Some folks have asked how much host sites get. I did some questioning of some ADs around the area today. Host sites get a flat fee, $2,250, plus expenses such as uniformed security, EMS, those sorts of things. That covers anything from ticket takers, being a media host, press box coordinator, officials, tournament manager, anything that goes in it. One of the ADs told me that most of their workers, well, all of them volunteer, so they get all that money back. Now, not every school has volunteers for this, so they pay their workers. It depends. And it's no different if you're, Findlay who's hosting, or if you're Columbus Grove, who would be a Division 7 team, which, as a Division 1 team, bigger stadiums, you're going to have more workers. Make of that what you want. Don't make much off of that, is what the ADs have told me. So it's the same, like I said, D1, D2, D3, D4, D5, D6, D7. Hosts get concession stand revenue, but typically not much because the visiting side does not bring a whole lot of fans. You're looking like a Liberty Center and a Utica coming, a 3-hour bus drive. Probably not going to have a whole lot of fans here.
Well, and some of it is finding volunteers, quite frankly. You could be a host site, especially as you get further down as we go. Some of these sites, their team might still be in it and on the road somewhere. Well, now all of a sudden, how are you going to staff that, right? And if you start looking at you have to hire somebody, $2,250 gets chewed up pretty quick if you're starting to pay some folks to man the deck, so to speak.
Yeah, host sites get $3,100 after the first 2 rounds.
Okay.
So it goes up a little bit when you get to the regional semis, regional finals, state semifinals. Not a whole lot, but you still have a lot of workers to pay if you're paying your workers. I think we saw a year ago a lot of sites that usually host games didn't put in.
Yeah.
So when people start complaining, well, why aren't we playing at Perrysburg, or why aren't we playing here? Well, maybe they didn't put in for it. Just part of it. And everybody thinks it's always got to be equidistance. Well, okay.
Relatively speaking.
I don't think the coaches and players don't care where they.
No.
The fans care, but leave that as it is. Also, as far as stipends go, did some research on this today as well. Last year, teams were given a flat fee, but they don't get anything until the regional final and beyond. Regional final, they got $1,500. State semifinal, $3,000. And if you got to a state final, you got $4,500. The difference being, so Perry played Liberty Center in Canton a year ago. Perry got $4,500, but guess what? They didn't have to stay in a hotel the night before. They just drove down that morning. Liberty Center needed hotel rooms. So there goes your $4,500. Cheerleaders, coaches, other staff stuff.
Busing, etc.
Yeah. But fortunately for them, they were a lot of private donations helped them out with that. But I know a lot of people have asked me, what are teams getting? That was a year ago. I don't know if that has changed for this upcoming year, but they don't get it until the regional championship. So make of that what you will.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's probably not changed radically since then.
Yeah, and ticket revenue goes to the state.
Yep.
Yeah, just to put all the facts out there, but that's where we're at with some of that.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
There's so many misnomers out there and so much mixed up information. I don't know where people come up with some of the things they post and stuff, and you look at it and you're like, that's not right. So it's nice to have some factual information there that people can.
Yeah, but I mean, there are a lot of teams that are playing in a regional championship or a state semifinal that are taking a 3-hour bus ride. They're losing money if they don't get some private donations anymore.
No doubt.
Yeah, sure.
Which really cuts into that athletic budget. Make of it what you will.
Well, and you mentioned, where some of these distances people think, why aren't we playing this game halfway between us? There's a site there. It's perfect. It would be great. If they don't put in for it, the other side of it too is, generally speaking, the further you go in the playoffs, communities don't care where they got to go. Let's just go play the game.
Yeah, the kids and coaches want to play the game. Sometimes the parents get upset about, having to drive an extra hour and a half. Well, okay.
Yeah, a lot of people would like to be doing that.
Yeah,
so keep that in mind.
Yeah, but we'll get you the neutral sites here in 3 weeks once we get into the regional semifinals as we get them. Usually we get sometimes on Saturdays, usually Sundays at the absolute latest.
Yeah, we
got some connections out there.
We usually get the scoop on a lot of those.
Yeah. Game picks this week. Let's start in Division 1, Region 1. Cleveland John Marshall, 2-8. Their strength of schedule, these are all Martin RPI strengths of schedules is what I'm basing the strength of schedule off of. 69th in Division 1. They score 16 points per game, giving up 33 points per game. Whitmer, 8-2. Their strength of schedule, 47. 38.3 points per game, 13.9 points per game allowed. First meeting ever. Lawyers have wins over 2-6 East Technical and 0-4 Lincoln West. So a decided disadvantage for the Lawyers coming over here to Toledo on Friday night in this 2:15 matchup.
Yeah, and having this one at Whitmer Memorial Stadium, it's going to be a tough night for Cleveland John Marshall. There's no question about it. The house will be packed and rocking at the Jungle, as they call it. This is all Whitmer. It's going to be a long bus ride home for the Lawyers.
Yeah, there's a few matchups throughout the state like this one, and this is a no-doubter. Whitmer will name their score.
I got Whitmer in that match up as well. I had how many teams were in the playoffs with losing records. Let me find it here. 76 teams are in the postseason this season with losing marks.
I don't ever remember seeing so many 2-8, 3-7, 4-6s as this year. I mean, there is a host of 2-8, 3-7s.
Yeah, and as this continues, and listen, there's no disrespect to the kids on those teams that have made it in, but if this is going to continue, then you know what, we need to start addressing, is 16 the right number? And we've had a lot of conversation about that, discussion about that, obviously, and we'll probably get to that, but whole thing with Marion Local this week,
3 teams opted out.
Yeah, 3
Took another
teams,
MAC team to face them.
Yeah, so you have 3 teams that have opted out, and everybody's got their reasons, but the point being is, is 16 too many? In my opinion, yes, it is. Could you do 12 with a first round bye for the first 4? 8 has been brought up. I don't know what the right sauce is, but it seems like 16 is too many.
Well, when they're, what did I say? 17-109 after the first round. If you're a team that won on the road in the first round,
yeah,
I think there's some pretty good data there to show them that the teams that are on the road the first week aren't getting it done as the playoffs go on. Now, there's been some outliers, but select few, yes.
Rare air.
Yeah, absolutely. Also in Division 1, Region 1, 14th seed Medina is at Perrysburg. The Battling Bees, 2-8, 29th strength of schedule, 18.4 points per game, giving up 35.2. Perrysburg, 8-2, their strength of schedule, 51, 33.7 points per game, giving up just 11.3. First meeting ever between these two teams. Battling Bees beat 3-7 Stowe, Monroe Falls, and 2-8 Euclid.
Well, it's it's a case where last week Perrysburg going into Anthony Wayne averaging 10.5 points that they were giving up and scoring 36. A little bit different, obviously, after that Anthony Wayne loss. However, Perrysburg is still a complete team, remains healthy, and they're going to give the Bees all that they want and more. Another long bus ride back east for Medina. This is all Perrysburg.
Yep, Perrysburg will roll in this one. There's not a whole lot to say about some of these early matchups, but I like P. Berg at home.
A lot of running clocks.
Gonna be.
I
Yep.
think
a lot of running clocks.
I think there'll be one in this one. Also in Division 1, Region 1, Findlay, the 10th seed, 4-6, 15th strength of schedule, 27.7 points per game, 29.7 points per game allowed. At 7 seed, Lakewood St. Edward, who is 5-5, strength of schedule is second in all of Division 1, 25.7 points per game, 21.2 points per game allowed. St. Ed's is 2-0 all-time against Findlay, 22-0 in 1980, and then 29-6 in 1981. Met in the regular season as they had a 2-year schedule that they played each other there.
Well, the one thing I'll tell you is Lakewood St. Ed's at 5-5. Don't be too fooled by that, Lynn. You mentioned.
Don't look at the record, right?
Correct. Second toughest schedule in the state of Ohio. You look at their losses this year: Boyle County, Kentucky, who is 9-0; Massillon, Washington, 8-2; Glenville, 7-3; Archbishop Moeller, Archbishop Hoban, both with winning records. So this is a battle-tested squad that has just, by the way, won their fair share of titles over the last handful of years here. Findlay coming in at 4-6. We've documented some of the struggles that they've had this year. Has had trouble getting it done with against Anthony Wayne, Perrysburg, Whitmer, the big guys in the Buckeye Division. They're going to have trouble against St. Ed's as well. Give me Lakewood St. Ed's in this one.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Going to be a long bus ride home from Findlay, and the teams you mentioned that beat St. Ed's, Neil, Moeller, who's 9-1, only beat them 35-30. Glenville was 28-27, and that right there tells you all you need to know.
Those are two teams right there that are in the state championship discussion in their respective divisions. Yeah, this is going to be a tough ask for Findlay as well, and I'll take Lakewood St. Ed's in that matchup. Let's take a break, come back and talk about Division 2, guys. K. Kern Painting is a proud sponsor of Northwest Ohio Athletics. K. Kern Painting was formed in 1998 by Kinsey Kern in Toledo and now has a footprint in Toledo, Cleveland, and Michigan, and has road crews traveling throughout the United States. For a free estimate or job opportunities with K. Kern Painting, visit their website at kkernpainting.com or call 419-351-1250 or stop by their Toledo location at 211 North Reynolds Road. Welcome back to the Black Swamp Football Podcast presented by the Gerken Companies. Let's shift it up to Division 2, Region 6. Aforementioned Fremont Ross, who was up for our rock-solid performance this week. The 15th-seeded Little Giants will go to number 2 seed Medina Highland in the opening round of the playoffs. Fremont Ross 5-5. Strength of schedule 38, 24.5 points per game, allowing 22.4. Medina Highland, the Hornets 10-0. Strength of schedule is not great. 72 in Division 2, but they are averaging 44.7 points per game, giving up just 6.5. Hornets have 3 consecutive shutouts and allowed 21 points since week 3. Highland won this matchup in the 2020 playoffs with Fremont Ross 41-21. Saw Medina Highland a few years ago against Central Catholic. I don't know if they're the same team, but boy, they were physical, tough. They're always traditionally a strong, powerful team. This is going to be a tough 2-15 matchup for the Little Giants on the road.
Yep, and credit to Fremont Ross winning 4 of their last 5. Only loss there was to Clay in those last 5 games. So credit, we talked about them earlier tonight. Lynn, you just nailed it. Highland is an absolute physical team. Always has been. It's how they're cut. And if you look at their schedule, I understand the strength of it, but they've only just gone and thumped the majority of their schedule to go 10-0. This is going to be a long night for Fremont Ross against Highland. Highland. Give me the Highland Hornets in this one.
Yeah, you're curious to see if Fremont Ross can take a little bit of that mojo from last week where they were so good against Bowling Green. Can they ride that and maybe give themselves a chance coming out in the second half? It is going to be a tall order. There's no question. Medina Highland's pretty good. So I'll go with Medina Highland, but curious to see if Fremont Ross can hang in there for a while.
Yeah, I'll take the Hornets in that matchup as well. Rematch of the 2021 playoffs at Schuller Stadium. Cleveland Rhodes coming back to White House on Friday night in the 14-3 matchup. Cleveland Rhodes 5-4. Strength of schedule is 87, 21.8 points per game, giving up 23.2. Anthony Wayne undefeated, 71 is their strength of schedule, scoring just short of 40 points per game and giving up just 10.9 are the Generals. That's going to be a tall challenge for Cleveland Rhodes to roll into Schuller Stadium in that environment and hang with the Generals and the way they are humming on all cylinders right now.
Yeah, when you look at teams right now that you would draw, that you would not want to go be facing, the Anthony Wayne Generals, for my money, is probably near the top. They're absolutely rolling on both sides of the football, and they will continue to this week. Schuller Stadium would be rocking once again, and it's going to be a long bus ride back for Cleveland Rhodes after this one.
Could be one of those running clock scenarios that we've mentioned. Yeah, Anthony Wayne, if you're Andy Brungard and company, you want to take care of business, okay, and you want to be sharp doing it, but you want to get out of there healthy.
Amen.
Yeah, I remember I was at this game in 2021, and I talked to the Rhodes, I believe it was their principal, young lady, and she was telling me what it was just a great experience for their kids to kind of get out of Cleveland, because they never play out of Cleveland during the season. I think that was their first playoff appearance ever back then in 2021, and it had rained like crazy the week before, and there was about 3 feet of, well, I'm exaggerating, maybe 3 inches of water laying all over Schuller Stadium that night. But boy, it was wet, and Cleveland Rhodes, they left with some muddy uniforms because they got whacked.
I remember you telling that story about speaking with that administrator.
Oh, she was great. I probably talked to her for a half hour before the game.
She might not be as excited to be heading back to White House this year.
They know what to expect, I guess, this time. I think they were just kind of happy to be there that night.
Right.
But they're going to need to be more than happy to be there on Friday night against the Generals, the way they're smacking people this season. Also, in Region 6, a rematch of the opener this season that Clay won 38-21 at Sandusky. This one will be at Clay Memorial Stadium. Sandusky, the 11 seed, 6-4, strength of schedule of 36, 23.2 points per game, giving up 17.7. At Clay, who is 8-2, 56 is their strength of schedule, 37.4 points per game, giving up 25.2 points per game, and that one is John Gallius' crew hosting the Blue Streaks in a rematch from 10 weeks ago.
Well, could not be happier for the Clay community hosting a playoff game after the season that they've had, 8-2, tremendous success. Back to that, not only that rematch from week 1, but this is kind of a historic GLL rival from way back in the day. So Sandusky will bring the folks to Clay Memorial Stadium. There's no doubt about it. I think that this is going to be a close game. 38-21, you mentioned the opener, Lynn. I think it could be potentially closer than that, quite frankly. But in the end, give me the Clay Eagles to win this game. But I want to see Clay getting better on defense as we go here, because they're going to need to.
Well, I too like the Clay Eagles here. And if they would win, they're going to get Anthony Wayne in round 2. You know, they didn't play him in the regular season in their crossovers. They lost 35-7 to Perrysburg, a team that Anthony Wayne beat Friday night. So uphill climb for Clay, but taking it one game at a time. They've got their NLL Cardinal Division Championship, well earned. I look for them to get this one, and then who knows? I like Clay.
Yep, I like Clay in this matchup, but I'm like you, Neil. I think it's going to be a little closer than 17.
Yeah, I think if you look at Sandusky, finished the season 6-4, only lost one of their last, looks like 7 games, and that was to Perkins. Crosstown rival there and an absolute power. So Sandusky definitely had things rolling after an 0-3 start. So it I think is a little bit different Sandusky team than what Clay looked at week 1. But, Clay got better as the season went too. So this is a classic matchup. I love the rivalry aspect of it. Love everything about this matchup.
Yeah, and Sandusky has that win over Clyde, just a few weeks ago. That's a quality win.
Signature win, yeah.
I don't know if Sandusky's playing better since week 1, and kind of in our coverage area a little further east, but just be curious kind of how they're playing as opposed to week 1. You're obviously going to know a little bit more about yourself going into week 11 as you did in week 1, but that's one of the games that interesting this week to see how it plays out. Here's another one for you. I don't know what to expect from this one. Toledo St. Francis, the 10 seed,
it's a tough
at
one.
Avon Lake, who is the 7 seed. First ever meeting between these two teams. The Shoremen have traditionally been a very good playoff program. St. Francis just kind of building, but they got to go on the road. First playoff environment for Josh Linke's Knights, who are 7-3. Boy, kudos to them and what they did this regular season so far. Strength of schedule is 64 for the Knights, 32.1 points per game, giving up 24.44. The Shoremen 6-4. Now their strength of schedule is 4th best in all of Division II. So they have played some heavyweights throughout the regular season. 21.9 points per game and given up 24.7 points per game. Maybe not an Avon Lake team of some of their traditionally powerhouse times, but still you got to respect the tradition that the Shoremen have.
Yep, no doubt about it. And this is a team, Lynn, you mentioned it, typically year in and year out, a tough physical brand of football. 3 of their 4 losses were to 10-0 Avon, 8-2 Benedictine, and 7-2 Chardon. So don't read a whole lot into that. You mentioned their strength of schedule. They play one of the toughest schedules, what we would think of as like a equivalent NLL Buckeye Division schedule week in and week out. So they're no stranger to tough competition. And if you look back at their schedule, a lot of those names are in the playoffs this year. So they're going to be well seasoned. St. Francis, man, they got the momentum rolling and they got belief. And, back into the playoff scene, it's going to be a tall order, but give me the Knights on a little bit of an upset here of the Shoremen.
Okay, well, you mentioned their 4 losses. They're a combined 32-8, the teams that have beaten Avon Lake. So the strength of schedule, that makes sense based on those numbers. I agree. Toledo St. Francis is hot. I think, they may have a little more excitement going into this. Avon Lake's a little more old hat kind of. St. Francis they're going to be jacked up, but I've got to go with Avon Lake at home in this one, and it's going to be close. 28-24, 28-21, something like that. Give me Avon Lake. Tough pick though.
Yeah.
I think St. Francis, I'm telling you, they're gonna have the juice, man.
Oh, there's no doubt.
They're gonna let it fly, and they have a chance here.
Tremendous venue, by the way, if you've not ever been to Avon Lake Stadium.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. That's a tough one.
I didn't circle a winner in this game, and now that Strock has went with the Shoremen, I'm going to go with the Knights. Give me St. Francis. I think they have just enough, score maybe a late touchdown or field goal to pull this one out, but I think this may be, of all the games we pick, maybe the closest here in week 1.
I agree.
Yeah,
I think this one can go either way.
Yep, I agree.
I mean, it's razor thin.
Would love to see Coach Linke and the Knights get it done.
Yeah.
I know I didn't pick them, but I would love to see them get it done.
This kind of reminds me in a way of back earlier in the season for the Knights, week 4 specifically, going on the road to Clyde. We talked about that. Well, hey, this is Clyde, tradition-rich, power program, and they found a way to get it done. That's what this game reminds me of, and I think they're going to find a way.
That's a good comparison, Neil. I would agree with that.
Yep. Yeah, winner of that game gets the winner of Highland Ross.
Yeah,
yep.
Highland Ross, yep. Let's go to Division 3, Region 10. Central Catholic, the number 1 seed there. Top top strength of schedule in all of Division III did the Fighting Irish play this season, 9-1. The only loss, Detroit Catholic Central back in, what was that, week?
That was back
4?
in week number 3.
3. Okay, it's been a while.
Yep.
They've had some couple other close games of the Irish this season. You're used to them kind of rolling through the regular season, but they've had some tight matchups. Number one strength of schedule, as I mentioned, 29.8 points per game, giving up just 13.8. They have Rocky River Lutheran West coming to Gallagher Stadium, who is 2-8. Played one of the top schedules in Division III, 7th strength of schedule, scoring only 12.3 points per game and giving up 29.6. Any trouble here for the Irish in this 116 matchup?
No, there's not. I think that we talked about, taking care of business. That's what Toledo Central Catholic's looking to do here. Stay healthy, take care of business, but it's going to be a pick-your-score type affair down at Gallagher Stadium. As you mentioned, Lynn, some close games here by the Irish this season, more so than what we're used to seeing. How does that play out as we go further down the line in the playoffs? I think it does come into play eventually, but not this week.
Yeah, this is one of those lopsided affairs with the expanded playoffs where, you have a 2-8 football team playing in the postseason, and which you don't want to see anyone ever get hurt. But, if you're Central, just like I said about Anthony Wayne, you got to take care of business, and you got to get out of there healthy. Some of these unnecessary games that extend the playoffs, you just hope everybody comes out clean. But Central.
Give me Central too. Here's a quick question for you, Coach. You're a coach at Central Catholic or a Liberty Center or a Columbus Grove, one of these top seeds this week, and you're playing a team of lesser competition. How are you handling how long your starters are staying in games? Are you resting some guys that are maybe dinged up a little bit, that are 70, 80%, not 100%? Give me a little insight.
Yeah, that's a fair point, and very few coaches, no matter if they're a super heavy favorite, you never feel that confident going in. Just coaches by nature, I think, are a little more pessimistic like that. And but I think what I would do is I would rotate guys. I want.
What if you don't have depth?
Then I'm giving the ball to other guys and not my horse as much. Use him when I need him, but a guy that maybe gets 25 carries a game, he might get 8, and I might get the ball to some other guys. Guys that are dinged up, you're in uniform in an emergency, but I might not use you, and that's tough because those kids want to play. You only get so many of these, and so I think you got to budget it. It makes me nervous when I see when I see some of the top players in there and it's a 3, 4, 5 touchdown game,
And maybe games where the team of lesser abilities, maybe they're not going 100%, and that's usually when injuries happen too.
Yeah, it is.
You're somebody like Andy Schaefer, and you have Trenton Barraza, for instance, or a Casey Moeller, and one of his studs like Waylon Rentz. What is your mindset this week? Are you nervous as
I would be
cat in a ringtail cat in a room of rocking chairs?
Yeah, I would be. I'll be honest with you, and I know, they'll tell you, listen, you got to be fearless. You can't worry about those things. You can't. I do. I think about them all the time as a coach, and so those are real questions, and that's where these added games, as cool as it is for some of these teams that get in, the perennial teams like Liberty Center, Grove, Central, they don't want a 16-team tournament. No. You know what I mean? Because they've proven their worth throughout the course of the regular season to get here. So it's as our good friend Scott Barrett says quite frequently, it's adding another entire half of the season to the already completed season is asking a lot of these kids.
Well, and if you look at these 15, 16 seeds that are coming in and facing the 1 or 2, they have nothing to lose and everything to gain. And sometimes you play a little bit more reckless, if you will. I think you can. And things can happen. And you know what? if you're a Toledo Central Catholic, a Liberty Center, a Columbus Grove, have taken care of business through 10 weeks of the season with a tough strength of schedule, doggone it, you deserve a first-round bye, and I'll stand by that.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
No, that's a good point.
And I think some coaches, though, that have a higher seed like that would say we'd rather play. They don't want some rust.
I know a lot of them.
I know
didn't.
some of them have told me that I don't want to buy. I'd rather play. Now, you have an injury, maybe they change their thought process there. I don't know. We don't know what the answer is. And, I mean, to me, 16 is way too many. If you want to go to 12 and have some buys for those, top 4 teams that can rest and get healthy for a week, I think it would be good. I just don't like putting these top seeds players in peril for no darn reason.
Yeah.
There's just no reason we're playing. Why Utica coming up to Liberty Center? No offense to Utica, but come on.
Yeah.
They're going to drive up for 3 hours. It's going to be 35-0 halfway through the first quarter, and they're going to head back to Licking County.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yep. Yeah. That's just the facts. I mean, you can spin it however you want. Those are just facts.
And as Utica, I mean, you'd have to talk to the Utica kids, but how excited are they to make a 3-hour bus ride to get their teeth kicked in for all extensive purposes?
Right.
I don't know. I just have a hard time with how we are treating our young folks with all of the youth sports and everything that they go through. They don't get enough time off anymore.
No, they don't.
They really don't. They're pulled here, they're pulled there. A lot of these coaches at these schools, they don't work together. And you hear about the infighting between the coaches. Well, my kid needs to be at football. Well, my kid needs to be at basketball. Well, he needs to be at baseball. Well, come on, guys.
Yeah.
We got to figure this out, because there have been, and I don't want to blame it on overuse or whatever it is, but man, there's been a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
Has there been more this year than you guys can ever remember? It just seems like
it's
every
getting bigger
team,
every year. Yeah.
every team has had extensive injuries, and I don't want to blame it on the overuse of our kids, but we may have to start asking some tough questions.
Yeah.
Well, and I think the answer is either 12 with a bye, or if you don't like the idea of having a bye, then go to 8. Let's go back to 8.
Oh, that's what the coaches wanted.
Yep.
And the state didn't listen to them. That's
we'll see.
A discussion for another day, and we can go on for hours about that. Also in Division 3, Region 10, here's an interesting matchup. 12-seed Lexington is at Maumee. Lexington 5-5, 52 strength of schedule, 20.3 points per game, giving up 19.9. Haven't beat anybody, but did you see who they've lost to? They lost to 9-1 Ontario, 10-0 Shelby, 4-6 Clear Creek. That's kind of the outlier. 7-3 New Philadelphia, and 10-0 Ashland. The 5 teams they beat, though, combined 10 wins. I don't know. Maumee 8-2, strength of schedule 94. Their strength of schedule not great. 39.8 points per game, giving up 18.2. Is this closer than maybe what you would expect out of a 12-5 clash?
Absolutely closer. I'm going to go with Maumee. I'm going to go with Maumee at home, but won't be a bit surprised if this game's 28-28 in the fourth quarter. Not a bit surprised, but I'm going to go with Maumee at home. But Lexington, they're one of those programs with the schedule they've played. They're not sweating that. No, they're not sweating Maumee at all. And I don't mean that disrespectful, but they're going, look who we've played. So, but I like Maumee.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's going to be within a couple scores, though.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't think this is going to be a Maumee runaway.
No, I don't either.
Listen, I think this is you guys mentioned an intriguing first-round matchup that I don't think records are indicative of this. Familiar with Lexington, it's down in the area I grew up in, and that's a conference that week in and week out, you better be strapped up with who you're playing, because it's going to be physical. The communities come out and support those guys. Lexington at 5-5 is a dangerous team. Interestingly, Mansfield Senior, who's been a perennial power here as of late, finished the year 1-9. They're in that league as well. I think it's going to be close. I like Maumee at home. They're rolling. They've got the right sauce, but they're going to have to earn it Friday night.
Agreed. Also in Region 10, a game that Tory, Strock, and I will be at Fred J. Brown Stadium at Defiance. Bowling Green, the 11 seed, 6-4, 65. in their strength of schedule, 23.9 points per game, giving up 21.2. Defiance 6-4, strength of schedule of 60, 23.8 points per game, 19.3 points per game allowed. Defiance won 35-0 in the first round of the 1997 playoffs on the way to a state championship. BG won 56-13 in the COVID year in the playoffs. Don't know the status of some of BG's backfield. I know they're battling some injuries back there with Jackson Schaefer and J.C. Shannon. Could be at a little bit of disadvantage if they don't have a full deck against the Bulldogs, but can you tell me which Bulldog team is going to show up?
No.
We'll find out Friday night. Tory and I are not picking, obviously, with calling the game, but Defiance has been hard to figure out down the stretch here. I don't know.
No, I don't disagree a bit, and I think, we talk about intriguing matchups. We got two of them back-to-back here with, this Defiance Bowling Green. What Bowling Green does well, they do if they've got the personnel that they want to do it, and Jackson Schaefer, J.C. Shannon, etc. What they don't have is a whole lot of depth to make that happen, so the status of those guys is key. Defiance, you guys mentioned it. Which Defiance team are we going to see? Because if they show up a little bit asleep here and Bowling Green is clicking on all cylinders, look out, because the Bobcats can indeed sting them. I think that there's enough in the tank with Defiance, especially playing at home, that I'm going to take Defiance in this one. But depending on if Bowling Green's at full strength, this could be a heck of a battle.
A lot of question marks.
A lot of question marks. I'm tickled to be calling it. Jerry Beauty is as good a host as there is anywhere in the state of Ohio, and as you mentioned Saturday, I think you get Barry Parsons and guys like that up there. Defiance, just first class place to broadcast. So I'm excited, but we'll get those questions answered Friday.
We're excited to be at Fred J. Brown Stadium. Thanks to Jerry Beauty for allowing us to go over there, and he will take great care of us. So we'll Barry Parsons if Barry is up there in the press box as well. Let's take a break, come back and talk about Region 12 in Division 3. Have some WBL programs down that way.
Hard-working individuals have been the heart of the Gerken companies for generations. Together we construct the highways and infrastructure that strengthen our communities. Gerken is seeking rock-solid performers. We offer generous benefits, continuous training, top-notch equipment, and a culture that rewards effort. Want to be part of something big, steady, and stable with room to grow? Whether you're experienced or just starting your career, we encourage you to apply at gerkencompanies.com/careers.
Welcome back to the Black Swamp Football Podcast presented by the Gerken Companies. Division 3, going to stay there. Region 12, going to go down south where some of our WBL teams play. Franklin, 15 seed, is at number 2 seed Wapak. Franklin 4-6. Strength of schedule, not bad. 39th, 14 points per game. 20.7 points per game allowed. Wapak 10-0. Strength of schedule, 81. 34.8 points per game, giving up 13 points per game per Friday night. Wapak beat Franklin in the first round of the 2011 playoffs. I don't think the Redskins have any issue in this matchup. Caleb Moyer, Caden Page, they are going to put up some big numbers and roll into round 2.
Yeah, I think it's another one of those cases where running clock probably comes into play at some point here, but give me Wapak in this one.
Yep, I don't have anything to add to that. Give me Wapakoneta. They will roll at home round 1.
Other WBL team down in Region 12, the 11 seed Salina, 6-4, strength of schedule of 85, 26.6 points per game, giving up 20 points per game. They are at Cincinnati Archbishop McNichols, the 6th seed. 8-2 are the Rockets. 42 is their strength of schedule. 29.5 points per game. 8 points per game allowed. Rockets lost to 10-0 Steubenville, 18-16, and 10-6 to 8-2 Baden so far this season.
Yeah, Salina, I mean, we know they're physical. They're gonna go down there expecting to have a chance to win this game, but I like Cincinnati McNicholas at home.
Yeah, I do too.
Yep, Salina just been a little bit too unpredictable for me, too inconsistent, giving up way too many points at this point in the season. So yeah, give me Archbishop McNicholas.
Baden was a team that beat Salina a year ago in the playoffs, as we mentioned. Baden 37-25. They knocked off Salina in the Region 12 championship game a year ago.
Yep.
It was a pretty good Salina team a year ago that they had.
Yep, remember that well.
Ninth seed, Washington Courthouse, Miami Trace, 7-3, 75 strength of schedule, 33.6 points per game, 24.5 points per game allowed. They are at St. Mary's on Friday night in the 8-9 matchup. Rough Riders 8-2, strength of schedule of 69, 35.7 points per game, allowing 18 points per game. This is one of those games where the 9 seed can creep up and pick up a victory. They've had more success here in the last 3 years, but can they do it against the ground and pound Wing T Rough Riders?
This is a razor-thin matchup, I would think, but I like St. Mary's coming out of the Western Buckeye League and kind of the way they do things. Now, this isn't going to be pretty. This isn't going to be a masterpiece by any means, but St. Mary's will find a way to grind one out here. I like the Rough Riders.
Yep, I like the Rough Riders as well. I think they play in a league that's cut a little bit different, a little bit tougher, and I think that's going to be to their advantage. Give me St. Mary's.
I like St. Mary's in that matchup as well. Let's shift it to Division 4, Region 14. Elida, 15 seed, is going to Shelby, who is the 2 seed. Elida 3-7, strength of schedule of 38, scoring 21.4 points per game, giving up 31.8 points per game. Shelby 10-0, undefeated, strength of schedule of 62, 37.6 points per game, giving up just 12.8. They have a fantastic junior quarterback by the name of Braden DeVito, an absolute stud for Shelby. That's a tough matchup for Elida.
Yeah, this is, I can almost guarantee you there's a running clock involved in this one. It's just a matter of when. All whippets in this one.
See if Parker Krim can get his hands on Mr. DeVito, their standout defensive end. He is really, really good. We'll see if he can maybe create some havoc for the Bulldogs, but yeah, I don't see Shelby dropping this one.
I don't either, but as I said about Salina, when you come out of the WBL, and I know their record, is what it is, 3-7, but when you come out of that league, you've seen a little bit of everything. And so Elida, they'll give it their best shot, but boy, the Whippets they're rolling, man. I like Shelby.
13-4 matchup here in Division 4, Region 14. Napoleon to Lorraine Clearview. Wildcats 5-5. Strength of schedule really good again this season. They always play a really tough schedule to the Wildcats, 7th in all of Division 4, 28.2 points per game, giving up 22.9. The number 4 seeded Clearview program is 8-2. Strength of schedule 94 in Division 4, 29.4 points per game, giving up just 9.7. Have not seen the same level of competition that Napoleon has had. This is a matchup, to me, sets up really, really well for Napoleon, and they got a pretty good draw. I think they have a chance to make a little bit of a run here, and we'll get to our region picks as the night goes on here, but Napoleon's set up with a pretty good path to win a couple games here.
Yeah, and I've got a couple thoughts on this. Number one, this is one of the cases I would make for playoff expansion. And here's the thing, even if you went to 12, Napoleon still doesn't go in. Here's the heck of it. They're the better team here. They're the better team. I've always been an advocate for the Harbin system, but it's imperfect because Lorraine Clearview at 8-2 is sitting at 4, Napoleon 13th.
Well, we have to get a strength of schedule component in these rankings.
Yeah,
we don't right now,
because you can set your schedule up to just absolutely gobble up points, and so this to me won't even be an upset. I watched a Clearview game today, and this reminds you of maybe Napoleon playing Springfield, and that's no disrespect. It is what it is. But in a normal year, and this is where I was always blowing the expansion trumpet. I coached a lot of these teams at Napoleon, 6-4 teams, always on the outside looking in at 11 or 12, and you look up in seeds 5 through 8, and you're going, we could beat those guys. And so Napoleon will go on the road as long as they're locked in and don't get silly with this road trip. But Napoleon's going to go on the road. They got the best draw in this region. They really did. They dodged major bullets. by not having to battle Perkins, Shelby, Ontario, right out of the chute, and then even dodged a bullet avoiding Clyde. Okay? And so this is the best possible first and second round seeding Napoleon could hope for. And not only are they going to win this week, they're going to win next week. We'll get to that. But Napoleon, they roll in this game.
Yeah, the thing I want to see in Napoleon, not only this game but going forward, is the teams that come out and beat Defiance. I want to see that team, the focus and being locked in like that. They got a little sloppy towards the tail end of the season for me.
Sure.
Just some things that I thought could go a lot better with the talent that they have. They're going to need to clean it up to make a run here. Lucky for them on the draw that they have, for sure. But if they want to keep going, they're going to have to clean up some of the nonsense. But they got enough for this week.
They have the talent to do it.
They have the talent to do it.
It's just a matter of their mindset going into Friday night. If they want to do it, they're going to do it. I agree, and I'm going to take Napoleon too. And I would even go out on a limb and say the 5 seed is going to be gone on Friday night. Bay Village Bay may lose to Cloverleaf. I would not be shocked by that at all.
Yeah.
So Napoleon could get to a regional semifinal playing, I don't know, teams that are
like a Springfield
in the back half of the back portion as far as talent wise of their schedule.
Sure,
and I think there are 6, 7, 8 teams on their schedule that would beat the 2 teams they're going to face the first 2 weeks of the playoffs.
There are. I can only name 3 that wouldn't beat those teams. Northview, Bowser, Springfield. I mean,
right.
But no, Napoleon, it sets up beautifully for them. I like the Wildcats here.
Yeah, they have a chance.
Yeah.
Napoleon wants to make a little bit of run. Now, the third round, they're going to run into somebody that's going to be an absolute handful.
Pretty good, yeah.
But they have a chance if they want to play some more football. They can play some more football here as the season progresses. Here's another game that I have circled this week. That's one of my top ones in the first round. 11 seed at Seago. Don't think of them as a Division 4 team, but they are, do you?
No.
Think of them as like a Division 6 or 5. 5-5 are the Knights. 25 is their strength of schedule. 18.1 points per game. 21.4 allowed. They are at number 6 Clyde, who is 7-3. 39 is their strength of schedule. 30.9 points per game, giving up just 14.7. How tough of an ask is this for Seago on the road at Clyde?
Big ask.
Just pretty big handful for them.
Big handful. They're going to be coached up. They're going to have Clyde scouted. Coach Rutherford and company they'll have Seago as prepared as they can be. But Clyde wins this one at Bob Bishop Stadium. But a tough ask.
Yeah, I think as I look at Otsego, losses obviously to Oak Harbor Eastwood. Nobody's saying anything about that at all. But then I go back the week before with loss to Genoa, 7-0 winner over Lake, and then lost handily to Maumee in the end there. So I'm a little confused as the season has gone on here about Otsego and where they're really at. They're going into Clyde. That's going to be too much of a handful because Clyde will be clicking on all cylinders, and I think that's just going to be the difference there. So give me the Clyde Flyers in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Flyers too, but interested to see how Otsego responds in this. I wouldn't be surprised if they keep it close for a half and maybe even a little bit into the second half in this matchup.
Well, when you get to the playoffs and you get outside of your league, even though Craig Rutherford's at a different school, anyone who knows Craig Rutherford knows his offense really well. So the Eastwoods and the Oak Harbors and those guys, they know everything. Even though Clyde's not a million miles away, they don't know as much. They haven't seen as much.
They don't see that week in and week out either.
No. So there's
I'll tell you this, Clyde will have to play disciplined.
Yeah.
And I heard for some sources from St. Francis that they maybe weren't the most disciplined team when they played at St. Francis in week number 4 earlier this season.
Well, you better be disciplined against the wing T.
Yeah.
Better be reading your guards.
And Craig Rutherford's group will be disciplined in that matchup. But I think Clyde will get it done. Rounding out Division 4, Region 14. Otto Glandorf is the 10 seed. They are at the 7 seed Galleon. Titans 5-5. 5, strength of schedule of 29, 21 points per game, giving up 20 points per game so far this season. Galleon 7-3, strength of schedule of 52, 27.9 points per game, giving up 21 and a half. OG won 28-17 in the first round of the 2019 playoffs. This one's razor thin for me.
Oh, it's razor thin. There's no question.
I would maybe even favor OG.
Yeah, I'm taking OG on the road. Razor thin, coin flip game, but Ken Schreiner and his veteran staff, they're going to find a way to scratch one out here. Now, it may be 27-24, but they're going to win it. OG's going to find a way.
Not so fast. Give me the Galleon Tigers. I think that's a tough place to play. It's a tough environment and a program that is bred on toughness. Give me the Tigers.
Double not so fast. Give me OG.
Yeah, good boy, Lynn. Good boy, Lynn. That OG program under Ken Schreiner, they're not going to be intimidated.
They're ready to roll.
They're ready to roll.
Yeah.
They're happy to be stepping outside of the WBL.
Yeah,
for
of
crying
course
out
they
loud,
are.
You know?
Of course they are. Of course they are. Let's take a break, come back, and talk about Division 5, Region 18. Wow, what a slugger that region's going to be here as we go into the coming weeks. American Freedom Energy and Grandma's General Store off Route 24 on State Route 109, just south of Liberty Center, now has 88 unleaded fuel and is your one-stop shop for fuel, food, drinks, and much, much more, including locally raised meats and home-baked goods. American Freedom Energy and Grandma's General Store is proud to support Black Swamp Football and is the host of the Black Swamp Football podcast, football show, and Saturday mornings Rise and Rewind. Stop in and see Glenn and Greg today and make American Freedom Energy and Grandma's General Store a part of your everyday routine. Welcome back to the Black Swamp Football podcast presented by the Gerken Companies. Thank you so much to American Freedom Energy and Grandma's General Store, the host of our podcast, our football show throughout the season, and also Saturday mornings. Rise and Rewind, that time of year when that baked goods start sounding really good out there.
A little comfort food.
Cheryl Mann and Cheryl Carter furnish out there out front, boy.
Yeah, you get the pumpkin flavors and cinnamon, and whew,
Yeah,
goes hand in hand with fall.
It's going to be in the 80s here, the midweek, but after that, I think we're
Officially in the fall.
please, can we be done with hot weather?
Yeah, I
I'm
agree.
done with it. It's November.
I agree.
Let's go. We need some
Yeah.
football weather. I like to see my breath on a Friday night. I like to get up in the morning and walk out into the wilderness and breathe in that cold air, fill
do
up my
too.
lungs.
I do too.
I'm ready for it.
I do too. I agree.
Division 5, Region 18, going to start right here where Liberty Center will host Utica from Licking County. It's a 2-hour and 34-minute MapQuest distance. Now by bus, it's probably more like 3 hours. Did the math on that on Saturday morning during Rise and Rewind. Utica is 4-6, strength of schedule of 39, 13.5 points per game, giving up 21.3 per game during the regular season. Liberty Center, the 2 seed, obviously 10-0, 57th strength of schedule, 43.3 points per game, have the best defense in all of Division 5, give up just 3.6 points per game. Ikers subs on the go will be here on Friday night, starting at 4:30 here at American Freedom Energy, S430, State Route 109. If there's any Utica fans listening to this, stop on in. The Liberty Center folks will treat you well. You can't miss it. On the right side of the road before you get to Rex Lindgren Stadium for anybody coming up from Licking County. How many folks you think will make it up here from Licking County on Friday night? 30? Can I put the over-under at 30?
Yeah, I'll take the over, but it ain't going to be much
30?
over.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a haul.
That is a haul.
I just question how the heck this region is constructed.
I know.
That's what I don't understand is how that's drawn
On the
up.
northeast side of Columbus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a mystery.
Go all the way over to Worcester, and yeah, it's something else. But yeah, again, Liberty Center needs to take care of business. You want to be sharp. They're going to spread the ball around. Liberty has a bunch of guys that can tote that rock, and they're all going to touch it Friday night. And I don't think any one guy's going to touch it any too much. You want to get out of there healthy and move on to week number 2. But yeah, Liberty Center rolls at home, and it's going to be what it's going to be. be.
Yep.
I wish Utica the best.
Yep, agree with you on that. A lot of young guys getting their first taste of playoff action. Savor it, get better, move on, stay healthy. But it's going to be all Tigers.
Yeah, I'm going to take LC too. I'll tell you what, Tigers are going to have to stay healthy for this playoff run.
Boy, you ain't kidding.
Their playoff path.
Yep.
No favors were given to the Tigers this season.
No.
Going to have Liberty Benton coming here to town next week if Liberty Benton can get by Fairview Park Fairview, and then they would have Oak Harbor. Most likely, if the seeds hold in the regional semis and then the regional final, probably would be Milan Edison if everything holds true here. That's that's a juggernaut.
Yeah, I mean, one thing's for sure, if they make it through, they've earned it.
Yeah.
They've earned it.
And they're going to have somebody waiting for them in the state semifinals. It's probably going to be pretty darn good, too. But that's the way of high school football, and once you get deep into the playoffs, you're going to play some good competition. But I don't think they have any issues this week, and hopefully they can get out of there with no injuries and keep their playoff run going. Delta, they're the 13 seed. 6-4 are Mike Vickers' Panthers. Strength of schedule of 75, 26 points per game, 20.3 allowed during the regular season. They're at number 4 seed Creston Norwayne, who went 9-1. Strength of schedule of 56, scoring just under 40 points per game and giving up just 13.3. Delta's kind of fallen off here as the season's progressed. How big of an underdog are the Panthers this week, guys?
They're sizable, I can tell you that. If you look at Norwayne, first of all, they're growing big over there. There's no question about it. Their only loss of the season back in week 1 to 10-0, St. Clairsville. They lost the game by a touchdown. Notable win for me was last week. They beat Hillsdale to send them to 9-1. So previously unbeaten Hillsdale beat them 45-21. So that tells me quite a bit about Norwayne. They're going to be too much for Delta on this trip.
Yeah, I agree. Sizable underdog here. They're going to have their hands full, are the Panthers.
What would you set the line at?
I would set the line at...
Is it 3 scores?
I was going to say 21. I'll be a little more. We'll say 17.5.
Okay.
And but Norwayne's going to be a handful. Delta's going to have trouble running the football on them. They're pretty nasty.
Yeah. Bobcats, is that the nickname of the Norwayne? Is that correct?
Got the Bobcat colors,
Yeah, Bobcats.
EG's colors.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Bobcats in that matchup as well. Delta just didn't show me enough kind of down the second half of the season to give me confidence to pick them this one. So I'm gonna take Norwayne in that matchup. In the 12-5 matchup here in Region 18, Archbold 6-4, 48th strength of schedule, 24.2 points per game, giving up 23.3 at number 5 seed Eastwood, who is 9-1. Strength of schedule is 63, 40.8 points per game, and allowing 14.1. First time these two teams have ever met in the regular season. Now they do scrimmage. They have scrimmaged here the last several seasons, I know. Eastwood playing really well, only lost to Oak Harbor. Started to give up some points here, though, late in the season, have the Eagles.
Well, they're not giving up enough late in the season for Archibald, I can tell you that much. And, Coach Dominic and crew finished well, 12 seed, but it's going to end this coming Friday night at Eastwood as the Eagles are going to be too much for the Blue Streaks.
I, too, am going to take Eastwood at home, no doubt. Will Archbold be within 10 points at halftime? At halftime?
No.
Okay. What % chance are we giving Archbold here?
To win the game? Or
Yeah, to win the game.
to give about a 10%.
I was going to say, would it be around 10?
10
That's
to
exactly
12.
what I was going to say. Yeah, Eastwood's going to be, they're going to be locked and loaded.
Eastwood's giving up 20 to Seagull. They gave up 31 to Oak Harbor, and then they gave up 27 to Genoa last week. But I think their offense is too much for Archbold. I think even if Archbold does score some points, I think they'll put up a boatload themselves, and I think Eastwood will move on in this matchup. Liberty Benton, the 7 seed. They have Fairview Park Fairview, the 10 seed, coming to town. Fairview Park Fairview 7-3. Strength of schedule is 60, 33 points per game, 27.3 allowed. Liberty Benton 9-1. Strength of schedule, not great. 96th, 36.6 points per game, and giving up at just 9.6. Liberty Benton could set up a big matchup here at Rex Lindgren Stadium, Kip Kernfield, next Friday night with a victory in this one.
Well, when your only blemish on your schedule, if you're Liberty Benton, is week 2 against Columbus Grove, that's saying something. They've taken care of business week in and week out. It's going to be one of those long rides home back to Cuyahoga County for Fairview Park. Liberty Benton in this one, setting up the match for next week with Liberty Center.
Yeah, I like Liberty Benton to win this one too, but Fairview's played some teams. You know, they played Kirtland. Now they got spanked, but they played Kirtland. Week 1, Fairview Park's opponent was Clearview, who Napoleon plays. They lost 34-0 to Clearview. And then turned around week 2 and beat a team that beat Clearview, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting, yeah.
So,
yeah.
Liberty Benton.
Yep. I'll take LB in that matchup as well. Rounding out our Division 5 programs, Region 20, Lima Bath goes down there. They are the 9 seed, 5-5. Strength of schedule of 13, 32.2 points per game, giving up 31.5. So they are giving up some points. They are at number 8 seed Carlisle, who was also 5-5. Carlisle strength of schedule 11th. So both of these teams played pretty tough competition throughout the regular season. Carlisle 26.7 points per game and giving up just under 30 so far. Does the WBL prepare Lima Bath for this matchup?
I think it prepares them quite well. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take Bath in this one. I think it can be one of those razor-thin margins, but I like the way that the WBL season has a team ready for the playoffs. I think that matters, and I think Bath goes on the road and gets it done.
We're just going to ignore the fact that Glenn Badenhop jacked up the heat to the point where I'm going to, die.
I don't
it's
know
like
why.
A sauna in here.
Jesus. God.
I think it went up 25 degrees.
You guys are just talking about, and it was almost on cue when you said, hey, we're glad that this hot weather's over, and all of a sudden,
I mean,
I think he said you wanted it.
It's just it's just radiating. I mean, I'm sweating right now.
I mean, I've been in saunas that are cooler than this right
I have
now.
too. Jeez, I just had to say that. My gosh. Back to your...
I don't even know where we were. I'm about to pass out.
I'm
Speaking of Bath,
I'm going to need one.
I'm hallucinating here. Glenn thought he was doing us a favor by turning on some heat. But
It's got to be 85 in here right now.
it was 74 when we got here.
and here's the thing, it's climbing too.
Oh, it's still climbing because it's that red hot up there, and it's just radiating.
It's like one of those
on my face.
commercial heaters, man.
It is.
It's like the
Jeez, my face is going to melt.
It's like the Seinfeld episode where Kramer gets the heater for his spa and knocks out the power in the whole apartment building.
Yeah.
That may what happened here in Liberty Center. If the power goes out, I'm going to tell you why. This thing just cranked up 50 degrees.
You might want to look out on the street and see if the lights are flashing.
Well, you could open that garage door and heat this entire part of Henry County, for crying out loud. Jesus, Hopper, what's he thinking? He doesn't have a lot of meat on his bones, so he might have been outside and been a little chilled.
Well,
but
he's over having a slice of pizza there. Maybe he's trying to heat his
he was
pizza up
shoving
or
that in,
something.
wasn't he? He was shoveling that in.
Maybe he's trying to get that pizza warmed up. I don't know.
Might be what it was.
Good.
Microwave it down or
Jeez,
something.
oh, Pete.
Back to Lynn's original question.
I don't even know what it was.
As my face is melting, you asked if Lima Bath was well prepared coming out of the WBL, and Neil agreed, and I agree as well. Even matchup, solid strength of schedules both ways, but I like Lima Bath. I like them even on the road. They're going to add another win to that 9 seed win total.
Did you give your pick, Schuller?
Yeah, I took Bath before the melee.
Boy, I've lost all control here of where we're at. Boy, I'm gonna take Bath as well. I think they get the victory as the 9 seed on the road at Carlisle. Just don't take your shirt off, please.
The funny thing
Keep
is,
that on.
I was thinking about going and getting a cup of coffee when we went on break, but I can't do it now.
You may want to jump in a bucket of ice water.
Good night.
All right, Division 6 6. Region 22, 15 seed Paulding, 7-3, strength of schedule of 106, 33.7 points per game, giving up just 12. At number 2 seed Bluffton, Pirates 9-1, 58th strength of schedule, 42.3 points per game, giving up just 10.1. Boy, did that points per game allowed number jump up after their loss a week ago to Columbus Grove, 42-0. Bluffton won 63-6 in the first round of the playoffs last year. Is there any lingering effects from that loss to Columbus Grove here for the Pirates, or they get right back on track and roll again over Paulding like they did a year ago?
Well, I think there's some lingering effects, but unfortunately for Paulding, they're not good ones. I think that they're stung by this, and they want to make sure that that's the last time that happens for a while. Hats off to Paulding, 7-3 season. Coach Menzie and crew getting that program right back on track. Unfortunately here, they're heading into a upset Bluffton team.
They are, and you know, it's just the luck of the draw here for Paulding. They turn in a really, really solid 7-3 football season, and they got to go on the road to Bluffton. That's the reward they get, because there's a lot of teams in that region that Paulding would beat.
Agree.
So they're going to have their hands full. Here's the good news. You know, Bluffton's got some good running backs. Paulding's strength is their middle linebacker, okay, Jack Woods, and then Paulding is a really good tackling football team. Bluffton really hangs their hat on some perimeter throws, some swing passes, things like that. Paulding has the Mans brothers that I think, you know, can play in space pretty well. It's just for 48 minutes, it's too much to ask, and I like Bluffton to roll, but I'm going to be curious when we get our halftime update here. Is Paulding within striking distance, or is it 35-7? I don't know.
Yeah. Yep. I got Bluffton in that matchup as well. 14 seed Ashland Crestview. They are at Ottawa Hills, who is the 3 seed. Ashland Crestview 5-5, strength of schedule of 38, 28.2 points per game, giving up 18.6. The Green Bears 8-1, have not lost since that opener to Gibsonburg. Strength of schedule of 89, 46.1 points per game. That is number 1 in all of Division 6, giving up just 11.2 points per game are the Green Bears. Ottawa Hills lost 35-10 to Ashland Crestview in the 2021 regular season in Week 6. But I think the tide is going to turn this time.
Yeah, this is definitely not the same scenario that we're looking at here. Ottawa Hills, I think what they showed last week against Eden, impressive, just to add on to an already impressive season. In the village, they're tough to beat. It's going to be a long ride back to Richland County for the Crestview Cougars. Give me Ottawa Hills.
Well, Crestview's won 5 of their last 6. Okay, so they're not limping in here by any means. But yeah, this is a different Ottawa Hills mentality. They got a little chip on their shoulder. They're physical. Ashland Crestview, tons of playoff tradition. You know, so they're not in uncharted territory by any means. But Ottawa Hills will be too much for them at home. Give me the Green Bears.
Just got some insight on Ashland Crestview from one of my friends over that way. I like to play cover 0. So I think Reddick Pillarelli may have a couple touchdowns in this one. A big night for Chase Miller.
So, well, that means Chase Miller's going to have to get it out. Yeah. They're going to have to protect him.
Coach I talked to said they had guys running wide open. They just couldn't hit them.
Oh, man. So they just
missed some chances. Had some turnovers. The coach I'm talking to, I think Ottawa Hills is going to put up 40-plus and roll in this matchup. So give me the Green Bears. Rematch from the regular season in the 13-4 matchup here in Region 22. 13 seed Evergreen, 6-4, strength of schedule of 33, 20.6 points per game, giving up just 18.7. At number 4, Patrick Henry, 8-2, strength of schedule of 44, 34.3 points per game, giving up 7.2 points per game. That is best in all of Division 6. Patrick Henry won this matchup 35-6 back on September 13th. Anything change for the Vikings to close the gap in this one in the second meeting of these two?
I don't think so. I think the gap is still there, if not wider. That said, hats off to Coach Barry Bach and crew. A 6-4 season for Evergreen has that program, pointed in the right direction as well. But hit a buzzsaw here week 1 with Hamler High. Give me Patrick Henry.
Yeah, this is one of those, there's a fine line here if you're Patrick Henry, because Evergreen's good enough where you can't just say, well, Lincoln Krager's not going to run the ball, we're not going to do that. Evergreen's too good to do that. So they've got to budget accordingly, I think they need to get that lead and then just have Lincoln hand the ball off and spread it around. Can't afford any injuries. I'm not saying that they can afford to have this guy or this guy get hurt, but not Lincoln. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the more you spread the ball around, the less chance anybody's going to get hurt. And so, but Patrick Henry can't just say, well, Lincoln's not going to run the ball at all. We'll be fine. No, because Evergreen's dangerous. But they're going to get done what they need to get done, and then they're going to manage the rest of that game. But I like the Patriots. Their defense is too good.
Yeah, maybe not a super wide spread in this one, just because I think Coach Inselman and crew will kind of taper it back if they can get an early lead, 3-4 scores. Now, if they can't, well, that changes kind of how you game plan, maybe.
28-7 would be my guess.
Okay.
Yeah, it ain't going to be anything. Ain't going to be anything gaudy.
Run the clock.
Right. Yep.
Limit the amount of plays that your starters are out there. Yeah,
Stay
I'm
healthy.
with you. Yeah, but I like PH in that matchup as well. Maybe the top game in all of our coverage area here in Week 1 of the playoffs is this next one. Cary at Tenora. Blue Devils 5-5, strength of schedule of 24, 30.6 points per game, 16.7 allowed. Tenora 7-3, strength of schedule of 41, have won 7 in a row. Cary 2-0 all-time against the Rams, 48-7 in 2020, and then on the way to the state championship in 2021, Cary picked up a 20-0 victory over Tenora in that matchup. Is this one razor thin? Go either way. I know a lot of people are going to look at Tenora winning the GMC 7-game winning streak as a pretty prohibitive favorite, but is this closer than maybe what some think?
Does anyone have more funky endings in Ohio high school football than Tenora?
That's true.
No.
I mean, was it last year Winford beat them like at the buzzer?
Yeah, there was something with that.
Winford, yeah. I think there was a playoff game.
Yeah.
And then there's a regular season game that was totally funky.
Yeah.
I just remember watching the highlights. And then the Archbold debacle. Tenora, it always finds themselves in these wacko finishes, man.
Yeah.
And I think the reason I bring that up, this is going to be one of those.
I was wondering where you were going with that.
Yeah, like there's going to be something weird that happens that Cary does, and it's going to be a bunch of controversy. But this time, the Rams overcome. They find a way. They've done that all year. It's been their mantra. It ain't going to be easy. And Cary they'll be biting and scrapping and twisting and clawing, and the Rambos are going to be a little sore Saturday morning, but led by their young quarterback, Mr. Farrell, they're going to find a way to get it done.
I like that analysis. I'm right there with you.
Yeah, and Cary is like an interesting team. If you look, beats Colonel Crawford, who's no slouch there at all. Loses to Mohawk, who's also 8-2 the following week. Then turns around and wins. But that was against Bucyrus, 0-10. Okay, just a up and down team. Which team shows up? I don't know, but I agree. I think Tenora has it rolling. After that start, and we talked about it, well documented, but you know what? They've just plugged along, and their time to overcome the adversity is now. Give me the Rams.
Yeah, no. Tenora's have some of those. 35-34 over Fairview. Wayne Trace was 3-0 in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Beat Paulding a couple weeks ago, 21-18.
Finding a way.
Went through that crazy non-conference schedule. Probably should have another win. Obviously, well, not probably. They should have another win over Archbold from week 3. Played out Seago tough. So really the only game they played all year that wasn't really decided as far as a win for them, a loss for them was the Liberty Center game. And a lot of their wins were close.
What was their Seago score, Lynn?
14-9.
They lost.
Yes.
What if those two teams played again this week?
I think it'd be similar.
Would it be similar?
Way. Yeah, I think it'd be similar.
Tenora has,
but it could go either way.
But
I would say it's 50-50.
They have the new quarterback.
Yeah.
They didn't have early in the season. It makes them a little more.
running the wing T a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, they're a little more polished.
Yeah, but if you're looking at a 5-point game, are you telling me that both teams are that much different than week 2?
Yeah, and then Tenora sanded Edgerton last week, 24-0.
Right.
I think Tenora is quite a bit different than
I
early.
think they are, too.
I think that
they are.
Yeah, I don't know what would happen. I'm just curious if they replayed
I think it'd be close. I think it'd be 2 scores
one
at
way or the
most.
other.
Yeah.
But point being that where you're going with that, I mean, this could be a 9-1 team.
Oh, yeah.
Very easily
sure it
could be.
Sure it could. Yeah, but they're going to have their hands full, aren't they?
They got to show up.
Carey always has big kids.
Yeah.
Nasty.
How disciplined will Carey be?
Yeah.
It's been maybe kind of their bugaboo outside of their state championship year.
No, I agree.
But should be a great game there at Cressel Stadium on Friday night. That's a game that I'll be watching as we do our broadcast. Also in Division 6 Region 22, Woodmore is at Fairview. Woodmore Wildcats, the 11 seed, 5-5, strength of schedule of 49, 21.7 points per game, giving up 28.1. Fairview, the 6 seed, 8-2, strength of schedule of 87, points per game, 34, and they're giving up 18.8. Apaches are 6-0 all-time against Woodmore, last met in 2014.
Make that 7-0, Lynn, because Fairview's going to hold serve at home. All they've done is quietly amass 8 wins, and they've gotten better as they've done it. I like their defense. I like their quarterback, Will Zedike. They're going to get it done at home and move on to round 2.
Yep, won their last 5 in a row and have the machine going the right direction. Give me the Apaches.
Yep, I'm going to take Fairview in that match as well. Good to see Woodmore kind of get their program back on track. Boy, they've had a lot of 1-9, 2-8, 0-10 seasons here as of late, but it looks like they're back on the path of being respectable again. Boy, they had some good teams there in the 90s.
Oh, yes, they did. And again, with the expansion, and especially in Division 6, they're going on the road at Fairview. Probably wouldn't have otherwise gotten in the playoffs. So this is good for their program. Gives them another week of practice. There
are some good things.
There are some good things.
Is there enough to outweigh the bad?
Well,
I don't know.
Probably not. But
I think there's a cutoff to it, right? I mean, if you're 11 seed versus 6, there's more benefit, right? If you're 16 versus 1,
and you're 2-8 and they're 10-0.
That's different.
I just think if we put a strength of schedule component to this, it'll change at least the second round matchups. Get us some better second round games. I don't think the 1-16 matchups are not going to change because of a strength of schedule component.
Right.
You're going to have to. The pickings are thin when you get in that 14, 15, 16. But I think teams get seeded poorly in the system we have, because you can pile up a schedule of nobodies and be 10-0 and you're going to be a top 4 seed.
Yes, correct.
Which I don't kind of defeats the purpose of what the playoffs should be about.
Right.
So let's get a strength of schedule component in there and see how it goes for a couple years.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
We'll see. That rounds up Division 6. Going to come back and talk about Division 7, Region 26.
High school seniors, uncertain that college is right for you? Concerned about the cost of higher education? At the Gerken Companies, we offer rewarding livelihoods even without a degree. That's a good living straight out of high school with no tuition debt. Starting pay between recent college grads and those with high school diplomas is closer than you might think. So if you enjoy teamwork, working outdoors, and being part of something meaningful, consider your options at gerkencompanies.com/careers.
Thank you again to the Gerken Companies for being the presenting sponsor of our podcast this season. Also, presenting sponsor of our basketball podcast. That, boy, it's coming up here pretty quick.
Are you going to accompany me on some of those basketball trips and do some stats?
I'll try to. I don't know that I want to commit to everyone, but you take some time off here. But
you've earned it. I'll
hang out with you and Coach Krause or Coach Wayne or Jerry Snodgrass, whoever is helping you out.
That's going to be
those nights for the Gamecast. Also, Gerken Companies will be the title sponsor of our Gamecast for basketball this upcoming winter.
I'm pumped for that. Doggone it. magazine. You're not already, are you?
Oh, we are.
Do you have some stuff in the works for next year's magazine already?
Oh,
you and
it never ends.
You and Jules?
Julianne's already been working on some stuff. I don't know that I want to, well, maybe I do want to release some news. We're going to do a MAC football magazine for next year. Some of the MAC folks have asked us to put one together for the MAC. We don't know if it's going to be a part of the one that we already do up here. It's probably going to be a separate issue.
A separate publication?
Separate publication. And we may do some kind of deal. If you buy both, you may get something off. I don't know.
And it's just going to be MAC teams?
MAC teams, yep.
Interesting.
Wow. That's a big endeavor, Lynn.
MAC Commissioner Rob Himmelgarden reached out to me back in July, August area. He works at the same printer where we get this one printed, and he said, hey, would you be interested in putting something together for the MAC programs? So it won't be as big, obviously.
That's what I was going to ask.
We'll maybe sell a few copies up here in Northwest Ohio for people that are interested in MAC football.
Just think of, it's endless. We could go down a whole rabbit hole, but some of the features, some of the history.
There'll be a history, I think, feature in the MAC magazine about what they have done. And for all intents and purposes, people mostly don't understand that the MAC didn't start winning football championships until the early 90s.
Yeah, St. Henry and Tim Beckman.
So it's only been 30 years, a little over 30 years since they really ramped it up down there.
I remember, believe it or not, when Marion Local wasn't very good.
Oh, yeah.
I know
they weren't very good.
No. And it's crazy.
And I think all of the teams in the MAC are in the playoffs. You have to look this up for me, but maybe Parkway.
That's the only team that's not into the
playoffs this season from the MAC.
Yeah, that's right.
How many other conferences in Ohio can say that?
Not many.
The WBL's close, right? And Shawnee and Van Wert maybe didn't.
Yeah, they're probably.
But
maybe.
Same neck of the woods. Kenton didn't get in.
Oh, Kenton, there you go.
Yeah,
There's three. But yeah, that's similar neck of the woods.
It's kind of the cradle of high school football, honestly.
Yeah, it is.
If you want to look at state championships and everything that goes into that. But boy.
Yeah.
It's a different world down there. And if you didn't listen to Rise and Rewind, what was the 50-50 take-home? $22,450?
22 and change.
From the Marion Local at Coldwater game last Friday.
Good.
Holy smokes.
You know, it was funny. I was at the Bowling Green Toledo game at the Glass Bowl, and they sell 50-50, at the college games, and the pot was at $22,000. I'm serious. And I could hear fans going, geez, oh, Pete, it's up to the pot. So the winner's take at that point was going to be 11.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, and there's 30,000 people there,
Yeah, it's sold out, right?
Yeah, sold out. And I'm going, we got a ways to go here in the Mid-American Conference to catch the other MAC.
Yeah, man. Braden Martin was there.
Yeah.
Helps us out with a lot of stuff, and he said this Marion Local team is an absolute menace. He said they'd win state up to Division III.
Wow.
I'm not going to argue.
I'll tell you what, that's saying something.
And I think they'd be competitive in D2 and D1.
They would.
I know people are going to listen to, Marion Local Division 7 team is going to be competitive in D2, D1. Well, I'll tell you what, they would be.
Yes,
I'm not saying they would win it, but if you put the state champion against them, that team's not going to, they're going to come out of there knowing that they were in a ball game.
Yes, they would. There's no, and if you know, you know. That's the bottom line. And if you don't know, then you either study up or...
Yeah. And now they do sell the 50-50 tickets throughout the week in those communities down there too. But still, I mean, some people are like, well, they sold that many tickets on Friday night. No, they do sell them throughout the week. But I tell you what, you get down in the St. Mary's, Wapak,
St. Henry,
Salina, St. Henry, and those MAC communities, Minster, Anna, Coldwater, name any of them.
Crazy.
It's
Versailles down there.
Versailles, Tiger Ball. Buddy, it's a whole different world.
Yes, it is.
As far as high school football and really high school sports are concerned.
Yep. It's the way they trust in the coaches.
Thank you again to the Gerken Companies for being the presenting sponsor of our podcast this season. Also, presenting sponsor of our basketball podcast that, boy, it's coming up here pretty quick.
Are you going to accompany me on some of those basketball trips and do some stats?
I'll try to. I don't know that I want to commit to every one, but take some time off here. But
You've earned it.
Are you? I'll hang out with you and Coach Krause or Coach Wayne or Jerry Snodgrass, whoever is helping you out.
Mm-hmm. That's going to be
those nights for the Gamecast. Also, Gerken Companies will be the title sponsor of our Gamecast for basketball this upcoming winter.
I'm pumped for that. Doggone it, magazine. You're not already? Are you?
Oh, we are.
Do you have some stuff in the works for next year's magazine already?
Oh,
it
never ends.
You and Jules.
Julianne's already been working on some stuff. I don't know that I want to. Oh, maybe I do want to release some news. We're going to do a MAC football magazine for next year. Some of the MAC folks have asked us to put one together for the MAC. We don't know if it's going to be a part of the one that we already do up here. It's probably going to be a separate issue.
A separate publication?
Separate publication. And we may do some kind of deal. If you buy both, you may get something off. I don't know.
And it's just going to be MAC teams?
MAC teams, yep.
Interesting.
Wow. That's a big endeavor, Lynn.
MAC Commissioner Rob Himmelgarden reached out to me back in July, August area. He works at the same printer where we get this one printed, and he said, hey, would you be interested in putting something together for the MAC programs? So it won't be as big, obviously.
That's what I was going to ask.
But we'll maybe sell a few copies up here in Northwest Ohio for people that are interested in MAC football.
Just think of, it's endless. We could go down a whole rabbit hole, but some of the features, some of the history.
There'll be a history, I think, feature in the MAC magazine about what they have done. And for all intents and purposes, people mostly don't understand that the MAC didn't start winning football championships until the early 90s.
Yeah, St. Henry and Tim Beckman.
So it's only been 30 years, a little over 30 years since they've really ramped it up down there.
I remember, believe it or not, when Marion Local wasn't very good.
Oh, yeah.
I know
they weren't very good.
No. And it's crazy.
And I think all of the teams in the MAC are in the playoffs. You have to look this up for me, but maybe Parkway.
That's the only team that's not
into the playoffs this season from the MAC.
Yeah, that's right.
How many other conferences in Ohio can say that?
Not many.
The WBL's close, right? Shawnee and Van Wert maybe didn't.
Yeah, they're probably.
But
maybe.
Same neck of the woods. Kenton didn't get in.
Oh, Kenton. There you go.
Yeah,
There's three. But, that similar neck of the woods.
It's kind of the cradle of high school football, honestly.
Yeah, it is.
If you want to look at state championships and everything that goes into that. But, boy.
Yeah.
It's a different world down there. And if you didn't listen to Rise and Rewind, what was the 50-50 take-home, 22,450?
22 and change.
From the Marion Local at Coldwater game last Friday. Holy smokes.
You know, it was funny. I was at the Bowling Green Toledo game at the Glass Bowl, and they sell 50-50, at the college games. And the pot was at 22,000. And I'm serious. And I could hear fans going, geez, Pete's, it's up to 20. The pot. So the winner's take at that point was going to be 11.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, and there's 30,000 people there,
Yeah, it's sold out, right?
Yeah, sold out. And I'm going, we got a ways to go here in the Mid-American Conference to catch the other MAC.
Yeah. Man. Braden Martin was there.
Yeah.
Helps us out with a lot of stuff. And he said this Marion Local team is an absolute menace. He said they'd win state up to Division III.
Wow.
I'm not going to argue.
I'll tell you what, that's saying something.
And I think they'd be competitive in D2 and D1.
They would.
I know people are going to listen to, Marion Local Division 7 team is going to be competitive in D2, D1. Well, I'll tell you what, they would be.
Yes,
I'm not saying they would win it,
but
if you put the state champion against them, that team is not going to – they're going to come out of there knowing that they were in a ball game.
Yes, they would. There's no – and if you know, you know. That's the bottom line. And if you don't know, then you either study up or –
Yeah. And now they do sell the 50-50 tickets throughout the week in those communities down there too. But still, I mean, some people are like, well, they sold that many tickets on Friday night. No, they do sell them throughout the week. But I tell you what, you get down in the St. Mary's, Walpock,
St. Henry,
Salina, St. Henry, and those MAC communities, Minster, Anna, Coldwater. Name any of them.
Crazy.
It's
Versailles down there.
Versailles, Tiger Ball. Whew, buddy, it's a whole different world.
Yes, it is.
As far as high school football and really high school sports are concerned.
Yep. It's the way they trust in the coaches, let the coaches do their job, let the school administrators do their jobs. Don't meddle in that business, keep their noses out of it. Let their kids kind of make their own way instead of trying to prepare the path for them. And, I doubt you have much daddy ball down there where you have the daddies, laying the framework for their sons to be.
If there's a problem, Daddy takes care of it. He doesn't go to Tim Goodwin or Chip Otten or those folks like they do around these parts.
Nope. Amen, brother.
They go straight to the source, and that's their kid.
That's their kid, and that's it.
And Braden, I point blank asked him, I said, well, how many college kids does Marion Local have that would play at the next level? He said, no, they may have a couple D2 kids. But you're thinking, this team that is this good, they don't have any D1 kids?
Right.
And I'll tell you right now, give me culture and belief.
Yep.
You're going to win ball games.
Yep. And then you take a look at the family unit down there.
Yep.
It still matters.
Still small town America.
Darn right.
Yeah, it is. All right, Division 7, Region 26. Marion Local is in Division 7, so at some point, one of these Region 26 teams may have to run in to give Tim Goodwin's Flyers, but we'll get to that if that happens. First matchup, we're going to talk about the 16-1 North Baltimore 4-6 at Columbus Grove, 10-0, playing as well as anybody in our coverage area. Strength of schedule of 12 for the Bulldogs and Andy Schaefer, 42.1 points per game. 10.7 points per game allowed. North Baltimore 4-6. Strength of schedule of 80, 19.2 points per game given up, 27.1. Oh, it's going to be a lot of Columbus Grove points for the Bulldogs on Friday night at Clymer Stadium, I'm afraid.
Yep, this is stay healthy, take care of business, move on. There's nothing more to say there.
I was trying to come up with something profound, maybe find a little.
Good luck.
Yeah, I was going to give you both. Now, hear me out. I was going to give you one of those, but you guys, no. Yeah, it's going to be what it's going to be. You could take Levi Gazarek, the tight end for Bowling Green, from North Baltimore, put him back on that North Baltimore team. It wouldn't matter.
How many Levi Gazareks would they need?
7.
Okay.
7, and then piece some other guys in there. Levi's a tough dude, but they need 7 of him because this Grove team's as complete a football team as I've seen in several years.
Did you see that hit that Grant Eversole had on Friday night against Bluffton?
Just cut him in half. Bluffton receiver extended like this, and Grant Eversole, 1,000% clean. Textbook. He brought it though.
And if you've seen Grant Eversole in a cut-off sleeve shirt, I don't know how much you'd have to pay me for me to expose my ribs like this and let him have a 15-yard head start and smack me.
Yeah, he's a real deal. And you know what? He delivered that hit. Didn't get up and act like a doofus.
No.
Just got up. Columbus Grove, what you see, you don't ever see anybody acting like a clown. All the celebrating they do is with their teammates, high fives, hugs, whatever, and it's just a reflection of their culture. But Columbus Grove's complete, man. They're fun to watch, and I still can't get over the dismantling of Bluffton Friday night. You'd have had to see it to believe it.
I mean, it could have been twice that.
Yes, it could have. The score, and this is funny, we joke about this sometimes, that game wasn't as close as the score would indicate.
That's saying something.
Zilch.
And it was 42 zip.
Oh,
and it wasn't that close. It wasn't.
I don't know. Yeah. Remind me, I got a question for Neil Schuller when we get to our Region 26 picks.
Love it.
I asked you that question on Saturday morning. We'll see what Neil Schuller responds with.
All right. I don't know, Neil. I can't remember, but
I'm sure it'll be good.
All right.
It's a good question. Yeah, but I'm going to take Columbus Grove, and boy, they're going to be tough out. Marion Local might be the only team in Division 7 that can do it.
I know.
I don't think anybody else will. No. 13-4 matchup is Edgerton going to Sycamore Mohawk. Edgerton 6-4, strength of schedule of 76, 31.8 points per game, giving up 22.2. Sycamore Mohawk, the 4 seed, 8-2, 57 is their strength of schedule. 34.8 points per game, giving up just 10.8. First time these two teams have ever met. An Edgerton team sometimes don't know what you're going to get from week to week, too. They've been a little inconsistent. They have enough to go on the road and pull a upset over number 4 Mohawk.
Well, and funny you said that, Lynn, because that's the first thing that I was thinking when I looked at this matchup. You got Edgerton just a little too inconsistent for my liking, especially here down the stretch. What are you going to get? I don't know.
Had Fairview kind of on the ropes a couple weeks ago. What was that, 21-7, Coach Strock?
I think
at one point, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
On the flip side of things, you got Mohawk, who since lost in week 1 to Calvert, and then went a whole string up till week 7 before their next loss to Upper Sandusky. So I like their consistency a little bit better. They're home. Give me Mohawk in this one.
Yeah, wins over Cary. That's, kind of their marquee win, I guess I would say.
Colonel Crawford.
Yeah, Colonel Crawford for sure. Yeah.
35-7.
Yeah.
Sometimes these teams down here, I think they get a little overhyped.
They do.
So I wouldn't be surprised if Edgerton won this game. I just can't pick them.
Yeah. So traditionally, Sycamore Mohawk, very, very physical.
Yeah.
But
the teams up this way have always traditionally played the Colonel Crawfords, Bucyrus, Winford, even the Carys at time. They played them pretty well. Seneca East, they've had really good success. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think they've probably won, dare I say, 75% of those matchups probably. So they match up well with those teams.
They do. Edgerton's going to have to – they're going to have to play a clean game, protect the football to give themselves a chance. But I'm going with Mohawk in this one. But if Edgerton, brings their A game and takes care of the football, they got a chance to be there.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Give me the Warriors as well in that matchup. How about this one? 12 seed Macomb at number 5 seed Eden. Macomb 7-3, strength of schedule of 70, 28.4 points per game, 13.9 allowed. Eden 9-1, 86 is their strength of schedule, 41.8, giving up 15.2. But were they exposed? Was Bomber Ball exposed a week ago at Ottawa Hills? Macomb won 57-0 a year ago in this matchup in round 2. 2 years ago, 57-3. Does Chris Algie have the blueprint? Well, looks like he does, to slow down this Bomber Ball attack.
God, this Macomb team's so different, though, than a year ago. So different.
And this is maybe not the same Macomb team.
Macomb is so different.
Yes.
Yeah.
But if you're Eden, can you overcome? You've been outscored by over 100 points.
Yeah. Yeah, and I got bit last week, thinking that point total in a new year, a new season, what Ottawa Hills did to them last year wasn't going to matter this year. I think it did matter.
Or does Bob Owen have the counter to what Chris Algie's done defensively against him?
Well, I think Eden's got the guys. Eden's got the guys, but I know that as soon as you pick Eden in this one, you're going to get a score, and it's going to be 21-0 Macomb in the second quarter, and you're going to go, what was I thinking? Because, is it fool's gold? That Eden offense is prolific, man, but the defense, I'm going to cut to the chase. Can't believe I'm doing this.
They only scored 14 last week against Ottawa Hills.
I know. I'm going with Macomb.
Lynn, what did you say the points against on Eden was?
This season?
Yes.
15.2.
Okay, they were 10.7 going into that game last week. So that, the absolute dismantling. By a third. So the absolute dismantling that Ottawa Hills did to Eden and just their lack of defense is concerning. And quite frankly, when you're matched up against Chris Algie, that's a bad time to be having that mark going into that, because rest assured he will have the Macomb Panthers ready, and I think that he takes it. I, too, am taking the Macomb Panthers. And that's not an indictment to Eden's offense. It's an indictment to their defense.
Yeah, well, I will not be one single bit surprised if Eden wins this game.
Nope.
In fact, it's hard for me not to pick them. But what happened last week happened. You can't act like it didn't happen. So I'm not going to, in back-to-back weeks, pick a team. Heck, a couple years ago, I made Elmwood win like 8 in a row before I'd pick them. And so I'm not giving Eden the benefit of the doubt after last week, because it is what it is.
They've been outscored 114-3 in the last 2 years against Chris Algie. Now, I don't know that they have the same type of dudes with Braxton Althauser and those kids,
Right.
but they got something in the soup.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Curious to see who you're going to take, Grolly.
I can't overcome a team that's been outscored by 111 points in 2 years. I got to take Macomb.
But
it's hard for me because I've seen Eden, but
I know.
Who have they beaten though?
I know.
They beat Audible Lake,
Yeah.
Whiteford, but how good is Whiteford this season?
I know. And I can tell you this. Macomb's not going to sit back on their haunches and let Kyler Sapp sit flat-footed and run at will like he did against Whiteford. You know, that ain't going to happen against Macomb.
No.
But I won't be a bit surprised if we're sitting here on Rise and Rewind Saturday, Lynn, talking about how Eden got the offense cranked up.
I just can't put my head around overcoming 111 points.
No.
In this matchup, when you've scored 3 points in 2 years.
And here's the thing. I could overlook that if last week's game was modestly close.
It's awful fresh, isn't it?
I think that's the thing. And I mean, the record against Macomb is what it is. But if that Ottawa Hills game last week is 14-21, okay, you know what? Yeah, let's talk about that, right? Yep. Not giving up 55.
Yep. Nope. Well, it's a good point. Fair point. Who could argue that? Seriously.
Bob Alwyn.
Okay. Let's see. Well, he has something to say about it.
Yep.
Ottawa Hills put up 256 yards rushing and 266 in the air. That's 522.
No way.
It's a lot of yards.
A lot of yards.
A lot of points.
A lot of yards.
I don't know. I got to go with Macomb, too. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just have to. Yeah.
Yep, same.
Rematch from a week ago. Lipsick against Ada. Ada won last week, 29-26. Vikings 6-4. Strength of schedule of 51. 24.3 points per game. 19.2 points per game allowed. Ada 8-2. Strength of schedule of 78. 33.8 points per game and giving up 18.3. Lipsick turn the tables.
3-point loss last week.
Yeah.
And it's hard to beat a team twice. We know that, right? And I think when there's a rematch between two even teams, these two teams are even, when there's a rematch, the team that lost, to me, has the advantage for whatever reason. They do. But I'm going to do something I rarely do. I'm going to take Ada in the rematch as well. And I don't think it'll be as close as the first time. I could be wrong, but I like Ada.
No, I'm with you too, Coach. I believe that Ada's going to get this done again. Close matchup last week. Interesting that, you get the back-to-back games, so there's going to be no secrets involved here. But I like Ada in this. And I agree. I think it's more than 3 points this time.
I do too.
I like how you guys think. I'm going to take the Bulldogs as well in that matchup. These two teams will get the task of playing Columbus Grove next week at Climber Stadium. Pandora Gilboa, the 9 seed, 7-3. Strength of schedule of 23, 29.9 points per game, giving up 20.9 per Friday night. At LCC, 7-3. Strength of schedule of 26, 24.3 points per game, 15.4 allowed per game. Who gets the right to play Columbus Grove next Friday night at Climber Stadium? And this is an LCC team that gave Grove everything they could handle not too long ago.
They did.
This is an interesting matchup. 2 7-3 teams. Pandora-Gilboa's losses: Columbus Grove week 1, Bluffton week 2, Liberty Benton around week 6. LCC lost to Bluffton, lost to Grove, lost to Shawnee. So against two of the 3 losses for each team are common opponents. Similar outcomes for both. I don't know. Something about PG that I like. I'm taking Pandora-Gilboa. I don't have real good analysis other than just a feeling. I like the Rockets in this one.
Sometimes a feeling's all you need.
Yep.
You want to go?
Yeah. Feeling not good enough for this pick, Schuller. LCC and Scott Paulty.
See, I wanted to go last there because I wanted to be the one. But I'm with Lynn here in this one. It's thin. I mean, Pandora-Gilboa is good, Neil. So your pick's not too far off. They're a good football team. But Lima Central Catholic, I just think at this point right now, they have it rolling, and Scott Paulty's going to use. Hey, do you want another shot at Grove? Then we've got to earn it, and because they felt probably walking away with 28-20. They lost to Grove.
Yeah,
they probably felt like they could have won that game, and they'd love a shot at him again. I like them, but this is going to be tough. I like LCC.
Yep, I'm going to take the Thunderbirds as well. Going to take a break, come back, and talk about 8-man action coming up this week. Ready to hit the links? Grab your clubs and head to White Pines Golf Course at 1640 County Road 2 in Swanton. For a tee time or to sign up for their events, call 419-875-5535 or visit whitepinesgc.com. Also, sign up for their early membership of $885 or $796.50 for seniors 55 and older. Early membership is play now, and greens fees are covered for the rest of 2024 and all of 2025. When you play White Pines Golf Course, the experience will exceed your expectations. Thank you to White Pines Golf Course, also the title sponsor of Saturday mornings. Rise and Rewind, 8 a.m. again this Saturday morning. Coach Strock, is that good with you?
8 a.m. The Falcons are off.
Or do we want to go later?
I guess under that premise, we could go an hour later.
Good with 8. We don't have a ton of local games.
I think our listeners.
We're only going to Defiance. Now, if we were going an hour away, I may ask you to bump us back to 9 to give me a little more rest, but I think I'll be all right with 8.
Yeah, I think our listeners prefer 8 versus 9. I really do. I really do. So I'm good with 8. I've got the day off. It'll just be college football all day. So
yeah, I can do 8. So tune in at 8 a.m. Saturday morning. Rise and Rewind to hear the recaps of all the first round playoff games and what will be happening week 2 in the that will be the regional quarterfinal round of the playoffs. 8-man this week. Fremont St. Joseph is at Toledo Christian. Boy, are the TC Eagles rolling. Kind of got by their last hurdle a week ago against Sandusky St. Mary's Central Catholic. No problem there. TC, nobody challenging them right now, Neil Schuller.
No, there's a juggernaut here, and I'm going to tell you what, Toledo Christian keeps on rolling in this one and maybe beyond.
Well,
no maybe about it. They keep rolling.
Well, here's going to be the question. Is Fremont St. Joe going to roll in and have the sledgehammer as they circle Toledo Christian warming up with that sledgehammer defense?
Here's what I'm going to tell you. If they do, they're going to be sorry that they did it.
Okay.
Because the only hammer getting dropped here is by Toledo Christian.
I agree.
Even if St. Joe threatens them with the sledgehammer defense.
I don't even know that Fremont St. Joe could play with a sledgehammer and win this game.
No. You could give all 11 guys a sledgehammer. It ain't going to make any difference.
Okay.
Because you ain't going to be able to catch Carter
Might slow
Kester.
them down. Yeah. Yeah, give me Toledo Christian here. This isn't, as they say, this isn't rocket surgery.
No, it is not.
No.
Holgate, they are at St. Mary Central Catholic. Boy, did the Tigers take it on the chin against Chalker on Saturday. Holgate's they're not in a good place right now, I don't think.
They're not in a good place, and I'm going to tell you, the same premise here as I evaluated Eden and who I was going to pick in the Eden-Macomb game. Same principles apply here. Holgate burnt me and I know they're facing some adversity, but I am taking Sandusky St. Mary's.
I think this is going to be an absolute blowout.
Okay.
Well, I tell you what, there's things where the wheels get wobbling, and then there's just points where the wheels are clean off, and the wheels are clean off at Holgate right now. St. Mary's played Toledo Christian probably as tough as anybody has this season, which is saying something, and Holgate's going to have a problem with them. Give me St. Mary CC.
Yeah, absolutely. Give me Central Catholic as well in that matchup. Stryker going to end their season at Sebring this week. Been a tough road for Kent Hull-Soppel's Panthers this season. Can they get another win before they go out for 2024?
Nope. I'm taking Sebring at home. It's going to be a long bus trip. And Panthers, I wish them the best. Hope they get one, but my money's on Sebring.
Yep, me too. I think Sebring's going to be too much for Stryker in this one.
Yep, I agree with that pick as well, guys. Going to end the show with some fun picks.
What was the question, by the way?
I'll get to it.
Oh, okay.
We're not there yet. Just let me get to Region 26. We're going to go through the divisions and the regions from our local area, and you also got to give me your state champion. So if you haven't figured that out yet.
So the regional pick from each plus the state champion.
Yes.
Okay.
Our local regions, right?
Our local regions. Division 1, Region 1, Region 6, Region 10, Region 12, Region 14, Region 18, 22, and 26, and then state champions for all 7 divisions.
Let's go, baby.
All right. We're going to take a break here from the Swanton Welding Company. We'll be back, and we will find out who these two have for their regional champions and state champions. The Swanton Welding Company proudly supports our local student athletes and coaches. We're committed to being your local steel fabrication company in Northwest Ohio and building projects across the country. For job opportunities at the Swanton Welding Company, visit www.swantonweld.com or visit them at 407 Zider Way in Swanton. Thank you to our good friend Norm Zider at the Swanton Welding Company for his continued support. All right, we're going to start in Division 1, Region 1, guys. Do I need to go through the list of games, or are you prepared?
We're ready.
You're ready?
Yep.
Okay. Give me your regional champion.
Region 1, Division 1, the Mentor Cardinals.
Boy, Mentor's they're a handful, aren't they?
They are a handful.
They're a handful.
But hang on here. You know who they got first round?
I know who they got first round.
You know who they play first round, right, Schuller?
They play
St. Ignatius.
Yeah, they play Iggy, who 20-14 they beat them back in week 2. So I tell you right now, I wouldn't want to be playing St. Ignatius first round, but they are.
No.
They'll be all right. I'm going with the Mentor Cardinals because listen, once they get past, in my opinion, is
that their toughest challenge?
Until the regional final, yes.
All right.
In my opinion.
I love Mentor, tons of tradition, tons. But I am going with Lakewood St. Edward. Too much muscle, too much size and nasty. I'm going with St. Ed.
Yeah, I do. I got to go with St. Ed's too because that first game for Mentor scares me.
Yeah.
Because my regional champion pick could be out round 1.
Could.
Yeah.
I mean that.
But they ain't going to be.
Yeah.
I'm taking St. Ed's.
That's who I have in the regional championship, by the way. Mentor St. Ed's.
Okay, we'll give our state champions after we go through our regional picks here, guys. Division 2, Region 6. Avon's the number 1 seed there, and a pretty big favorite. 2 seed is Medina Highland, but I think Avon is still the team that most would look at as the regional champion here.
Yep, I think this region goes through the Avon Eagles. I just don't see a scenario that they're not winning out. Going to be interesting. Anthony Wayne could have something to say about it. They're in the bottom half of that bracket, but I just can't pick against Avon.
No, I think we'd be crazy too, even though I'm looking for any scenario to pick Andy Brungard and his Generals.
Can they get to the regional final?
Yeah.
They can.
Yeah, they've got enough grit, and they're so cohesive as a unit and just so unselfish, and just they do all the little things. I love Anthony Wayne in this region, but, Smart money's on Avon, but would love to be wrong on that.
Yep.
Would love it.
Could we see a St. Francis Anthony Wayne regional semifinal? Is that a possibility?
I think Highland is going to be too much for St. Francis.
Okay.
Personally, I think it's Highland, Anthony Wayne, and quite frankly, that could be a doggone intriguing matchup right there.
Yeah.
I don't want to even call that today. We might get to a point of calling that, but yeah, I think could it happen? Yeah, it could. I just don't think it's going to.
Okay. Go back to Division I, Region 1. Any of our local teams, give them a chance to make a run. Toledo Whitmer is the 2 seed there.
Yeah,
Perrysburg the 3.
The problem is this, Lynn. You got likely second round Whitmer St. Ed's. St. Ed's wins that, and then likely third round St. Ed's Perrysburg. So
you have to go through St. Ed's. That's too big of a task.
For all of our local teams, Findlay, all 3, Findlay, Whitmer, and Perrysburg, it has to go through St. Ed's, and I think that's too tall of an order.
Coach Strock, anything to add? No?
Nope. I would love to see Perrysburg and Dirk Connor show well. They're going to, them and Whitmer, they'll win Friday night. But, that's so many heavyweights at that level.
It's a different world.
Big boy football.
Get out of this area.
Yeah, this is, these are games where there's a lot of horsepower on the field.
Yeah. Division III, Region 10, Toledo Central Catholic obviously won the last 2 state championships. 2 seed there is Medina Buckeye. 3 seed is Cleveland Benedictine, a team that Central Catholic has ran into in the regular season here the last couple years. Defiance, a 6 seed, Maumee, a 5, Rocky River, a 4. Is this anybody in Central's way? Benedictine?
I think
maybe their biggest hurdle to get out of here.
Yeah, to me, it's the regional final here is Central Benedictine. Could be a good one, depending on kind of what happens with Benedictine. Do they pick up speed going through the playoffs here? How does Central play? I mean, Central's draw here on their side, I think, is they cruise through that.
Is the path for Central Catholic a little more difficult than what they had a year ago? Just going back to a year ago, to me, they were a little bit more of a heavy favorite a year ago than they were this year. A team like Benedictine, I think, can give them a game.
Yeah, I agree with that, Lynn. I think as you look at the regional bracket last year, especially,
you didn't see anybody that was going to challenge them.
I don't think that there was anything of concern there at all. Benedictine might have something to say about it. They're cut a little bit different this year than what they've been in the last couple. I think that could be a heck of an intriguing matchup if we get to there. Really, they've got 2 losses back to St. Francis, New York, back in week 3. They lost 17-23, and then to 10-0 Walsh Jesuit, 12-20. And Walsh Jesuit is the real deal. So Benedictine's going to have something to say about it at the end there.
Okay.
Yeah, I like Central a lot. I don't disagree that their path may be maybe a few more bumps in it, but no, they're in with the schedule they play. Good Lord.
Yeah. I think Central's the pick for me as well. Division 4, Region 14, guys. Sandusky Perkins is the number 1 seed there. Number 2 seed is Shelby. You also have Ontario, who is the 3 seed. Who do you like there, guys?
Did we want to do Region 12 or no, Lynn, with Wapak and those guys?
Oh,
yeah,
I have it here somewhere. I think I just ran right through it.
Division 3, Region 12.
I lost my
there you go.
my paper. Run through them for me, Schuller.
Yeah, you got 1 seed is Tip City Tippecanoe. The 2 seed is Wapakoneta. 3 seed is Bellbrook. 4 seed is London. That's kind of the top 4 in this particular region. Salina in there at the 11 seed. And I'm trying to think who else local. St. Mary's in at the 8 seed that we talked about earlier. Dayton Chaminade Julienne, Batavia, etc. So that's kind of what you're looking at there.
Well, I'm gonna ride with Wapakoneta to come out of the WBL unscathed at 10-0. Got to go with Wapak. Tip City Tippecanoe's had a nice year. I think they're undefeated also.
They are.
So they're legit. But I just think they're a little different than Wapakoneta. I like Wapak.
Yeah, I got Wapak coming out of this region as well. Tory, same thing. Tippecanoe is who they play in the final there and win. I like what Wapak has done this year. Yeah. That's who I got.
Give me Coach Moore. I think they're going to get it done in Region 12. All right, Division 4, Region 14. And now, as I mentioned, Sandusky Perkins, the 1 seed, will be a pretty, I don't want to say big favorite, but a favorite probably here with Shelby there too, and in Ontario, a couple other teams that can give them some trouble. Their only loss was to Milan Edison this season.
Shelby could get them. Shelby could get them if anybody can get them. That Edison loss by Perkins, it was a little chink in their armor, and I think that helps psychologically for some of these other teams gunning for them. But Perkins has unbelievable size, excellent speed. They're well coached. They're nasty physical. Shelby's the real deal, but my money's on Perkins. If I had to bet on this, I'm taking Perkins.
Yeah, I think this regional final is Perkins versus Shelby, and quite honestly, I think that is one heck of a football game.
Yeah.
Made for TV type action, could be a score type game either way. I got Perkins coming out of this one, but they're going to have to earn it.
Yeah, they are.
Yep. I like Perkins as well to get out of that region. Division 5, Region 18, guys. Whew, what a juggernaut this is. Milan Edison is the 1 seed. Obviously, Liberty Center is the 2 seed. You also have Oak Harbor there at the 3 seed. Eastwood, a 5 seed. Boy.
Liberty Benton's
in there.
The fact that Edison beat
Norwayne's the 4.
Norwayne's tough. Norwayne, people around here might not know. Norwayne's physical.
You bet.
They'll smack you in the mouth. That Edison win over Perkins holds more weight than any win in this region by any team. Liberty was tested by Patrick Henry, obviously. I would say Perkins.
I don't think anybody in this region has seen anybody like Sandusky Perkins.
Oh, no.
Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that.
Without doubt or question.
There's no question. So, if you had a Perkins-Patrick Henry matchup, Perkins would be a heavy favorite in that one. And Edison beat him. My question with Liberty Center is, when you load up like Patrick Henry did, and you make running tough, are they diverse enough offensively? Now, they're diverse enough to kick the snot out of a lot of these teams.
Yep.
Utica being the first victim this week. They're not going to have to do much out of the ordinary. But against an Edison who's willing to stand toe-to-toe and duke it out with them, because you got to be willing to do that when you play Liberty. You know it's like a boxing match, and you're gonna be swollen up the next morning.
Yep.
You got to be willing. Not many teams are. Edison will be. But I haven't seen Edison. I haven't seen him, and that Perkins wins a big deal. But I am just going to go by what I've seen and recent history and tradition. I'm going to kind of take the easy way out here. I'm not going to go out on a limb. I'm going to go with Liberty Center.
Liberty Center's path there goes through Oak Harbor, and Oak Harbor has done what they've done. We've talked about them all season. They're going to have to beat Oak Harbor to advance. They're going to have to play Liberty Benton as well, who is another team that we've talked about. If you look at Edison, they're going to have to face Eastwood at some point, I think, or Norwayne. Either way, that's a physical opponent. I, too, cannot get over Edison's win over Perkins. That cannot be overstressed. I know that's not something that area is not as familiar with our local listeners. That is a marquee win. That's like a state of Ohio marquee type win.
Oh, sure it is.
And I think Perkins was the odds-on favorite in D4 to win the whole thing up until then.
Yeah, without
I think
doubt.
There's some question marks.
Yep. So I think it's going to be a heck of a football game, but just that win alone and what they've done, I'm going to take Edison.
Well, Liberty Center's fairly one-dimensional, right? Let's be honest.
Yep.
They're fairly one-dimensional. We saw Oak Harbor, and I know Eastwood played them really tough, but Oak Harbor's not one-dimensional. They've got one of the better dual threat quarterbacks I've seen in a while, in Michael Lalonde, and But I think Liberty has an advantage there. I just pulled up Liberty Center and Milan Edison on Cal Preps. This kind of surprised me. In the playoffs on a neutral field, which that would be, Liberty Center 22, Edison 20. I find that very interesting with the Perkins strength of schedule win.
Yeah.
You know, so
now tradition goes into, I think, a little bit of Cal Preps'
it might.
So Liberty's getting a little bit of points for what they've done here the last 3 years too.
Yeah.
But I think if Liberty and Milan Edison played, it's a pick 'em.
It is a pick 'em.
And I have not been able to see any film on Milan Edison except some highlights. I haven't been able to watch a full game, so it's hard to judge from just highlights. But boy, that the number 1 seed in this region, having that is such an advantage to me.
Yeah, it's
just because
less of a road.
Yeah, you're not going to see anybody really week 2. Liberty is going to play Liberty Benton week 2 here at Rex Lindgren Stadium. Now, Liberty Center's going to win that game in my mind, but I think Liberty Benton has a chance if Liberty comes out and maybe doesn't bring their A game, turns it over a couple times. I think it's a game that Liberty Benton can make interesting. I don't think Liberty Benton can beat them.
It's not going to be a blowout.
You've seen both.
Yeah, Liberty.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, Liberty Benton. I would
on a night where they play really well and Liberty Center doesn't come out and play really well.
I would agree with that because I would give Liberty Benton an advantage in just overall team athleticism.
Can they spread out Liberty Center and do some things? I don't know. Or would Liberty's front 4 be all over the quarterback?
That's what I was just going to say. They can spread it out and get some favorable matchups, okay? But do they have the road graders inside to protect?
And can they stop Liberty's running game? Liberty Centers.
Yeah, I just don't feel like for 48 minutes they could.
No. I would give Liberty Benton like a 5% chance to win that game.
Yeah.
To win it.
To win it, yeah. I'd like Liberty Center heavily in that, but Liberty Benton's dangerous enough. On the right night, they could get them.
Mm-hmm. They hit a couple big pass plays.
Yeah.
You get a couple turnovers.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, if Elkert gets in the clear at all, if he has one step on anybody, it's a touchdown.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he'd be the fastest guy on the field. But getting that against Liberty's tough because they're so well coached. They're gonna game plan.
And then you would have to go through Oak Harbor if you're Liberty Center in the regional semis. That's going to take a lot out of you. I think I would give Liberty Center the edge in that game.
But Oak Harbor isn't going to be intimidated by Liberty Center.
They played a year ago in the playoffs, and Liberty Center handled them pretty well. Now, I think it was a little closer than maybe what the score indicated. And then you have to go into a regional final against Milan Edison.
Boy,
it's a tough path.
They have to earn it, won't they?
They'd have to earn it. I think if they don't have any more, they've had some significant injuries.
They have
the Tigers this season, unfortunately. I think if they can get through there without any big injuries, I like Liberty Center to get out of this region just because I think they have the grit, the coaching staff, the it factor, the way they play. I just think they have enough to get out of this region.
Yeah.
I wish I had a better analysis, but I don't.
It's hard to explain.
I think their tradition, what they've done here the last couple years, is gonna carry them to a regional championship. But they're gonna need some luck, I will say, to get out of this region.
Well, and out of the regions that we cover, this is a tough region for anybody to get out of. Who comes out of here will have earned it, no matter what.
Yeah, and don't count out Sam Connerman and Eastwood.
No.
Can they play Milan Edison tough? I mean, they played Oak Harbor tough.
Yeah.
I think
they're
Milan Edison's a little bit.
Going to play them tough.
Milan Edison's a little bit different animal, but
boy, Oak Harbor's really good. They're really good. Eastwood opened my eyes on that one.
Yeah, but
it'll be interesting.
Yeah, can't wait to see how Region 18 plays out, guys. That's go a lot of ways.
Yeah,
go a lot of ways. Yeah. Region 20, also in Division 5, we have Lima Bath down there. See what the Bath Wildcats can do. Frank Russell and his crew, after going through the WBL as the smallest school. Can they make a little bit of a run here, folks?
Speaking of wide open, this region is wide open.
I think they can.
I do too. And you just look at the strength of schedule for so many teams in that region. It's not great. Okay, it's not great. And Bath, gauntlet of the Western Buckeye League. And this is going to sound crazy because Bath's only a 9 seed. They've got as good a chance as almost anybody to win this league or this region.
Who else are you going to pick? West Liberty Salem's the 2 seed, and their strength of schedule is not great.
No, I just looked at
Jamestown Greenview's the 1 seed. Their strength of schedule, nothing daunting.
Nope. No. As a matter of fact, so I just pulled up on Cal Preps as we were talking, put in Bath versus Jamestown Greenview. Bath 34, Greenview 28. And that's the number one. That's the
top seed in
9 seed versus the 1 seed. I'll take Bath in this one.
Greenview's strength of schedule in Division 5, guys, 97. 97.
Yeah, I'll take Bath.
Think Bath's going to get out of this region, huh?
I don't know. I honestly have no idea in this region.
What about Versailles as a 12 seed?
Possible.
So Versailles, I was just looking at them
Maybe
hard.
not the team they were a year ago.
I lost their last 5.
Yeah, that's what I
saw. Marion local.
Are they going to see anybody in this region that's as good as anybody in those 5 teams in the MAC?
No. Here's their losses: 10-0, 7-3, 8-2, 9-1. In a 6-4 St. Henry team that only beat them 17-10. And
interesting here.
You know what? I'm going with Versailles. I'm not going to overcomplicate it.
Interesting. Versailles. Cal Prep says Versailles 31, Bath 24.
Yep. That's. I'm going Bath or Versailles. I'm going to go out on a limb and pick a 12 seed.
Okay.
To win this region. Just because I don't think it's a very good region.
No, it isn't. I
think Versailles has played majority of their schedules better than anybody in that whole 16-team field. But we'll see how it plays out. All right, Division 6, Region 22, guys. Hopewell Loudon, the number 1 seed. Team from our area that we're looking at is Patrick Henry. They are the 4 seed. They would maybe match up with Tenora round 2. Cary round 2, depending on how that one goes. Bluffton is the 2 seed, another team that you have to watch out for. Ottawa Hills is the 3, and then Fairview is the 6. Is this destined for a Patrick Henry regional championship?
I personally feel like it is. In my bracket, I have PH playing Bluffton in the regional championship. And advantage to PH. I think that they're a complete enough team to get it done and win Region 22. But this is going to be another one that whoever comes out of this is going to earn it because you got Bluffton on the other side. You got Ottawa Hills in here. There's going to be some tough games.
I like Bluffton and Patrick Henry. Although Hopewell Loudon's better than I think people realize.
Yep, agree.
I like Bluffton and Patrick Henry, and I'm picturing that matchup in my head, 2 teams that I've seen. I know Patrick Henry pretty well.
Didn't see maybe Bluffton on their best night.
No, did not.
I don't know that that's how you can define Bluffton. I think they're a lot better than what they showed. I think there was a lot of mental aspects that went into that loss to Columbus Grove?
There were, and I think Patrick Henry's built more to play the Liberty Centers in those ground and pound teams. I think they're built more for that, whereas Bluffton's going to spread you out. They're going to really stretch you with jet sweeps. They're going to make you defend the whole field. They're really good at finding guys up to shoot. Can they take
Grant Smith out of the whole kind of scheme at times?
I mean, yeah.
With the way they spread you out?
Yeah, I think that
he's not even a factor on the play?
Well, so after watching the game Friday night, I would question what would their scheme be. Because it seemed like Grove, and this is going to sound disrespectful, and it's not. I got a lot of friends down there at Bluffton, but they look confused the whole game to me.
They did. No, I agree.
Yeah. I just,
it's like they looked like they'd never seen what Grove was running.
I know, and it was.
And I didn't see Grove run anything too exotic.
No, I didn't either.
Out of their traditional stuff.
They didn't. They just.
It wasn't like they were throwing flea flickers and
no.
It was just straight ahead
halfback passes.
Right. It was just. a little bit of smoke and mirrors here and there. They take the tight end wing and trade them or shift them, pre-snap, and kind of get you thinking, wait, are they doing that because they're going to run behind them, or are they going to go the other way? And sometimes they would, sometimes they wouldn't. But Grove was playing chess Friday night.
Grove was 10 steps ahead every play.
Every play. And so I'm going to go in this region. I'm going to go with Patrick Henry, and I've said it, and I don't want to belabor the point. I already have. Patrick Henry's got to diversify a little bit, and I think they can. Bill Inselman is so good preparing a team week to week and adding a wrinkle or two. It's what Bowling Green did Saturday at Toledo. Scott Loeffler added a few wrinkles, and Toledo had no idea what was going on. They were confused. That happens sometimes with Bill. He's really good at play design. And so I'm going to give Patrick Henry the advantage. I like the Patriots. I like their tenacity.
How about a PH Hopewell Loudon regional semi, though?
Yeah.
That's going to be a...
Hopewell's going to want a little revenge.
Mm-hmm. And they have a coach that can scheme some things up.
Oh, boy. He's as good as there is. Brian Colatrillo is really good. Really good.
Are we not giving Hopewell Loudon enough props here?
We are not. I will tell you, we are not giving them enough
they've played
credit.
Some good defense this year. I think they're only giving up like 7.5 a game.
And they're big and physical, well coached, and it was one of those. That was a weird game last year. Patrick Henry, they just kind of controlled it, and Hopewell. I don't think that game last year was a fair sample of the type of team they were. Patrick Henry just was all over them in that game, but. Yeah, Hopewell could, at the end of the day, Brian Colatrillo's taken two teams to Fawcett Stadium. He knows the formula. And they could win that region. They could. But I think it's Bluffton or Patrick Henry. I'm going with Patrick Henry.
I think it's PH against Bluffton in the regional championship, and a game that could go either way.
Yeah. We saw how Patrick Henry played Liberty Center.
Yeah.
And if Edison's effort against Perkins matters that much, well, then I would say PH's effort
does too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. I'll take PH.
Okay.
May revisit that pick if Bluffton starts rolling again here. I don't know,
because they get hot. They're a handful.
And PH, boy, they gotta avoid those injuries those next 3 weeks before they get to that game.
Staying healthy is key.
Yeah, and maybe more so than anybody for Patrick Henry with the depth issues that they have. All right, guys. Final region, we're going to talk about Region 26, Division 7. Columbus Grove is the 1 seed. Here's your question. Here's my question for you, Neil Schuller. Do you take Columbus Grove in this region or the other 15 teams and one of them to not get running clocked?
That's right. That was the question.
So take Grove or any one of these other teams to not get a running clock on Grove?
Yes. Is there anybody in the region that Grove will not running clock?
Cannot get running clocked by Andy Schaefer and this Columbus Grove team?
Let's see if he says the same thing I said.
I remember what you said.
I know what I said.
Upper Scioto Valley, maybe.
No.
Wait, what's he talking about?
He thinks Upper Scioto Valley can keep it.
No, I don't.
He wasn't being serious, was he?
LCC, no.
It was 28-20 a couple weeks ago.
Possibly LCC.
And then I have another question for you guys.
I would say possibly LCC.
I don't want to possibly. I need an answer.
LCC would be the only ones I see in this region.
So I took the field also, Neil. I took the field. I said there's at least somebody that they wouldn't run in clock, and LCC was the team I said.
Yeah.
Just because they played 2 weeks ago and it was 28-20.
Right.
Oh, they might play again.
Then it might be, right?
Might be. Yeah, but I said, yes, I'd take the field.
Yeah.
Second question is round 2, the toughest game that Columbus Grove face is in all 4 games of this region.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, what, round 2's their toughest?
Round 2.
Yeah, I was going to say, possibly Macomb in round 3, but it's not the same Macomb, But Chris Algie's tough in the playoffs. He'll do something he hasn't done all year. Yeah, he does. But
I got another question.
I'm going to say,
I'm going to keep adding questions. How far does Delphus St. John's go? Can they pull an upset against USV in round 1, 15-2?
Yeah, I would
They
take.
can.
Although Upper Scioto Valley's better than what people think from year to year.
Agree.
They're a little bit different this year.
Okay.
But I would never
Would USV win the GMC?
No.
Okay.
No.
Just
no.
asking.
No.
No.
Nope. They wouldn't beat Tenora. I don't know if they'd beat Fairview.
Okay, they're a 2-seed here.
I know.
They're
I know.
the 2-seed here.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they are. You're absolutely right. They're better than they have been. I'm taking St. John's there. Calvert's got a nice win. Who Calvert beat that went 9-1?
I got you right here.
It was week 1. Calvert beat
They beat
Mohawk 8-2
Okay, all right.
by a point.
Okay, so Calvert's pretty good.
Lost 26-0 to Hopewell Loudon last week.
Okay, no shame in that.
What about Gibsonburg?
Tell you
Sanded
what.
Ottawa Hills week 1.
Yeah.
Lost to Edison week 3, 12-7. Did Gibsonburg.
Lost to what?
Lost to Edison 12-7 week 3.
Who beat Perkins?
Who beat Perkins.
Okay, so that better hold some water.
The following week, they lost their only other loss on the season, lost to Hopewell Loudon 27-14.
Okay, so Gibsonburg's the real deal.
But they only beat Margaretta 14-7 in overtime. Who's 4
Isn't
and
that
6.
something? Yeah.
Go
Isn't that
figure.
something?
Go figure.
Yeah, so I'm gonna just default Columbus Grove's my pick to win this
Same.
region.
Yeah.
Will they running clock their way through it?
I don't think they can go the whole way on a running clock. I just don't. Somebody.
I think they do.
I think it's week 2.
I think they do.
Think they running clock everybody?
I think they do. They're on a mission, man.
I agree with that.
They want to see Marion local. I mean, we don't know the state semifinal pairings. It could be a state final that they play Marion local. I would assume it would be the state semis, but I think they want a shot at Marion local.
And Grove, they don't care.
No.
They do. They embrace it. They embrace it.
Yeah.
The school community coaches.
But yeah, we'll see. But I think they roll through this region. I don't see anybody even coming close to knocking them off. All right, finishing up this week's episode with our state champion picks. Let's start in Division 1.
Are we doing the matchup as well?
We don't have to, but if you want to give it, you
Okay.
can. If you want to, you can.
I'm just going to give my champion.
All right, well, I'll do that too.
We're just going to go champion.
Now, if you want to get cute and give your runner-up, that's fine. We just don't know how the
Yeah, we don't know how
regions are
going to
match up. But
Yep. All right.
I'll go in Division 1. I'll take Cincinnati Moeller.
I'm going with Mentor.
Strock's looking on my paper because I got Moeller.
I did not, but I like the way you think, Lynn.
Okay. Division 2, I think Massillon repeats.
Yeah.
I think Massillon, but Walsh Jesuit might have something to say about it. I'm just going to throw that in there.
And Hoban is Hoban. I mean,
Yeah.
they've
Yeah.
had, but this Massillon Washington version is different than even 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. The last couple of years, they're a different animal.
Well, and here's the thing I'm going to tell you. No one, and I mean no one, has a better home field advantage in Canton than Massillon, Washington.
Yeah, no doubt about
Not even
that.
close. Yeah,
No doubt
I'll take Massillon as well.
Yep. Division 3, I like the Central Catholic Fighting Irish, but I don't think it's going to be as easy this year.
Watterson is really
I know.
good this year. Watterson is really, really good, but I'm not stupid. I'm going with Central Catholic, and they might not. We sometimes just assume they make it look easy. But you know what? With that said, I'm going with Central Catholic. Till somebody can dethrone them, I'm going with them.
Not so fast, boys. I was at the game last year, and Bishop Watterson is going to get it done this year.
They're good, aren't they?
They are exceptional.
They're really
have
good.
a tremendous quarterback.
Okay.
I think Bishop Watterson, and looking at the two teams, I would tell you I think it's Central Catholic versus Bishop Watterson again for the rematch. But the pieces, the difference in the pieces on the field tells me that Bishop Watterson gets it done.
Okay. All right. We'll see. Division 4.
I got Perkins.
Division 4.
With Glenville having something to say about it.
I am going to take the Glenville Tarblooders. Now, Clinton Massey is nasty. They're really, really good. And Menor Lake Catholic is really, really good as well. But I'm not going to overcomplicate it. I'm going to go with Glenville just because they're Glenville.
Liberty Center folks are listening. Perry Pirates, who defeated Liberty Center in the state championship. They are D4. Barely lost to Kirtland, I believe, was their only loss so far this season. I have Mentor Lake Catholic winning D4.
I like them.
D4 may be the most wide open of all the divisions this season.
I am told on pretty good authority that Glenville is a year or two away from being on an absolute dynasty. So write that down.
Okay.
Yeah, Kirtland beat Perry 22-21.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, Perry's up to Division 4 this season. Drew Pastores, Ohio Fantastic 50. He has Perkins number 1 in D4, Perry number 2, Lake Catholic 3, Glenville 4, Shelby 5, Streetsboro 6, and then Clinton Massey 7. Clinton Massey, I think they lost to Coldwater earlier this season, maybe in a non-conference game, but that's where
you can't count them out.
We have all different picks in D4, guys.
Yep.
Only one so far. All right, D5. Boy, there's some bruisers in this one.
I'm going to take Ironton in this one. That's just where I'm at.
No,
Ironton's had the knack for, dare I say, choking.
Yep, but
this team's different though, isn't it?
You know what? I think that
this one's different.
If they're going to get it done, it's this year, and I think
if Ironton doesn't win a state championship this year, they never will again.
Nope, I agree, and a lot of people just that Ironton, the tanks, just tough, right? Blue collar and
receiver going to Missouri, a cornerback going to Penn State. Boy, I don't know how you don't win Division 5 with that kind of talent.
Yeah,
they've went out and beefed up their schedule this season too.
They have. They're different. I remember 2 years ago, you and I made a friendly wager. Our good friend thought that they'd smack Perry or South Range, and you and I both said no. South Range will bully them, and they did, and he paid up too.
Yeah, he did.
We $50 each to Sattler Family Meats.
That's right.
Yeah. So this Ironton team knows different, and I'm not going to overcomplicate
Don't discount South Range.
No, they're nasty.
I think South Range is there.
Don't discount
Edison's there.
Yeah.
No, I know.
Liberty Center's there.
Liberty Center's there. But I'm going to go with Ironton.
Yeah, I like Ironton as well to win Division 5 this season. They're just a little different. D6, I like Kirtland winning their 8th title and 2nd straight.
Yep.
Give me Tiger Laverty.
Tiger Laverty, I tell you what, if there's anybody who's got it dialed in and has got the formula, it's him and Kirtland. I think Coldwater could potentially be there, but I'm going to take Kirtland.
Yeah, I think on the right night, Patrick Henry could trip up Coldwater. Could trip up Coldwater. But I'm going to go with Kirtland. That win over Perry. Anytime Kirtland's 10-0, I mean, and beat Perry. We saw Perry last year. I know they graduated some dudes, but I'm going to go with Kirtland. How could you not?
Yeah. How about Division 7? Anybody want to take the field?
No, not me. I don't know how you bet against Marion Local. I just don't.
I'm just looking at who the very last. I was going to see who's the very last team as far as rankings in Division 7. Smart money's on Marion Local.
Do they? How about this one? How about this question? Do they running clock everybody in the playoffs?
Marion Local?
Yes.
Including the final, huh?
Yeah, all 6 weeks.
Oh, boy.
Does anybody stay within 21 of them? How many teams have stayed within 21 of them during the regular season?
Columbus Grove's defense.
Nobody. Nobody's been within more than 21. Closest would have been week
39.
3, St. Henry 42-9.
There goes that heater again.
Minster 21-0 was their closest.
Oh, excuse me. Yep, I'm sorry.
But they've allowed 6, 15, 22 points all season.
Ooh.
Has Marion Local.
and I don't have the math skills to do their average on points for, but it's a bunch.
Yeah.
40 to 50.
Grove's defense is really, really, really good. Grove's defense is really good. I don't think they'd running clock Grove. I don't.
That might be about it, though. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marion Local in a landslide at D7.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody
So
touches them.
So here's a question. Out of our listening area, how many state championship games do we get to call this year? Last year we had 2.
I mean, I don't know. It's boy, all of our local teams have their hands full getting there.
They do.
You know what I mean?
Honestly, I feel like Central Catholic probably has the easiest path.
Yeah.
And it's not easy, though.
And it's not easy.
You know, Liberty Center, I think the last few years, you know, you look and say, well, yeah, they're going to win that region, you know. And they, you know, we picked them, or 2 of us picked them tonight, and they very well might. But
that's a little bit more challenging. 2 years ago was pretty tough with Elmwood and Eastwood.
Elmwood was
but I would
really
dare
good.
say that this one's even tougher just because of Milan Edison's win over
it is a
Perkins.
hard path through Division 5.
Yeah, that's going to be earned. And, you know, we talk about being healthy, and as you would say, Neil, I always like this, week 11 healthy, week 12 healthy. That's different than week 1 healthy, right?
Yeah,
there's no doubt about it.
You got 3 weeks to get to a regional championship. A lot can happen as far as...
Well, and in that gauntlet,
When
you kidding me?
Yeah, the physicality that's going to be required to advance.
Yeah.
I don't even know if you practice with pads on, you know, in the following weeks.
I personally don't feel as confident of us getting as many teams to state as we did a year ago.
Agree. I would agree with that.
I thought Liberty Center and Central Catholic were, you know,
Heavy favorites.
80-90% chance to get to Canton.
Yep, heavy favorites.
I think it's half that this year.
I would say.
Yeah.
50% maybe at most,
yeah.
just because I think the field is a little bit better this season.
Yeah.
But we'll find out over the next
We're
next
about
few
to
weeks.
set sail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you to the Gerken Companies for being the title sponsor of our podcast. We'll be back next week to talk about round 2 of the postseason. Have a great week, everybody.